I'm smoking with the windows down, bitch. It's a great night.
Mm-hmm.
It feels so good. I want to shoot my pistol.
All right, welcome to the War in the Paint podcast. I want to first thank all of you for joining us, whether that's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast fix. I'm Rodney Blue, and I'm joined by my esteemed cohorts and fellow basketball enthusiasts. I got my man Gabe Flores, Aaron Teflon Abraham, Nojo Wallace, and my brother Ricky Blue, man. And we're here to bring you commentary, insight, and amateur expertise on each of the National Basketball Association's 30 teams and every one of their 82 games. Now, this is a massive undertaking, man. I'm both restlessly excited and bubbleguts terrified about, but it's now or never, and I'm lucky to have some incredible support around me to help make this thing possible. So we'll go ahead and I'll hand it over to my co-host and let y'all introduce yourselves. We'll start with Gabe.
Yeah, man. What's good? It is your resident lover boy poet, educator of the youth, and Boston sports fan. Outside of the Patriots, fuck the Patriots.
Right on. Teflon.
Yeah, so I'm Aaron, aka Teflon. Either or works, by the way. So I respond to either. Been a basketball fan since my. I'm glad you didn't, because I had. But I've been a basketball fan since my consciousness spawned in as a child, and I believe. Am I the resident Mavs fan in here?
You are.
No,
you,
Unfortunately.
Yeah, been a fan of them since 2000, since Cubans owned them, and just excited to talk basketball. Been waiting to do this.
Hell yeah. Dojo.
Man, I'm Nojo, a basketball lover and an artist producer from Arlington, Texas, and I'm just here to talk shit and argue.
And finally, Rick.
What's going on, man? I'm probably the most casual fan of the group, but in that I feel like my opinion is a lot more valid than theirs as well. So yeah, artist, you know what I'm saying, extraordinaire, and yeah, fuck these niggas.
Yeah. And again, man, I'm Rodney Blue. Some of you may know me from my music and cultural commentary over the years that took shape through journalism, podcasting, and hosting. But I'm also a longtime hoops head, grew up playing the game and obsessed over the pro sports. So, you know, transitioning from music and culture to basketball media feels like a natural return to form, even if most people don't know that side of me. So enough introductions, man. Again, thank you for tapping into the War in the Paint podcast. The premise of this show is a weekly basketball conversation that, as I stated earlier, covers each of the 30 teams in every one of their 82 games. Now, each of the show's hosts have been assigned 6 teams, 3 in the Western Conference and 3 in the East. And every Sunday of the NBA season, we get together to discuss our team's performance throughout the previous week. So Team Blue consists of, in the West, we have our reigning champion Denver Nuggets, the emerging but still unproven Minnesota Timberwolves, the poster child for unfulfilled potential in the New Orleans Pelicans. And in the East, I have the post-KD, Kyrie, Harden, and Nash era Brooklyn Nets, the bad news Charlotte Hornets, and the youthful, potentially surprise breakout Indiana Pacers. And next, we'll go in the same order. You guys introduce your teams.
Yeah, man. So I've got the Daddy Warbucks Suns. I've got the Jawless Grizzlies out in the West. And then I've got last year's Cinderella team, the Jazz. So that rounds out my Western Conference teams. In the East, I have got the habitually overachieving Miami Heat. I have got the no more excuses Boston Celtics, and then I have got the vaunted Toronto Raptors that everybody is afraid of. I call them the Trade Machine Junior because they're about to blow it up.
Bro, I know you didn't just call the fucking Utah Jazz a Cinderella team.
Yeah, they were Cinderella's last year. What you mean?
They're Cinderella to the All-Star break. Then they got right into tank mode.
I knew you was gonna say Kings after that. But no, appreciate that, Gabe. Team Gabe, everybody. Go ahead, Tef. You next.
In the West, I got the 2-game tank Dallas Mavericks, the 2025 to 2028 three-peat champion OKC Thunder. If you play NBA 2K, you know why. And I got the Beam Team Sacramento Kings. And in the East, I got the Atlanta Cavaliers, the NBA YoungBoy Detroit Pistons, and the Disneyland Orlando Magic.
Right. Dojo, who you rocking with?
I got the sorry ass Atlanta Hawks. The LA Lakers, headed by the oldest nigga in the league. We got the sorry ass Knicks, the young and turned Houston Rockets, the Spurs being headed by the golden child of the NBA right now, and the still in the process 76ers.
Very dope. And Rick, who your teams?
Okay, y'all niggas gonna help you. I ain't know we were supposed to do that.
We already made trust. You already told us you was a casual, bro. So like, yeah, just let us know your team.
Yeah, all right. So we got the you know what I'm saying, super team Warriors, you know. I don't know. The Shot Brother Clippers, and I got the still trying to figure out what time it is after Dame Blazers.
The post Blazers.
Yeah, man. And I also have, speaking of the post Dame Blazers, I got, you know, the next super team that is the Bucks. The winners ball coming back Bulls. And yeah, the Invisible Man starring Jordan Poole, Wizards.
The no defense Wizards.
This shit's crazy.
The LA Fitness champion Wizards, nigga.
Crazy.
Surprised you didn't go free time in Cream City for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Time in Cream City is crazy.
Yo, why are y'all calling it that?
That's the nicknames.
That is big
I'm
Cream
bugging
City.
out. I'm bugging out. I need to hear that on a call this year, nigga. It's free time in Cream City. I need that.
You know, Richard Jefferson's gonna say it if he gets a game.
Yeah, I need that shit. All right, man. So yeah, thank you guys. The purpose of this is not only to share our obsession with hoops, with like-minded fanatics, but to give equal time and attention to some of the franchises and players who are not always fairly or equally covered by the mainstream sports media, if even at all. It's our hope that we can provide a fair amount of coverage for those underrepresented markets, create a credible access point for new and lifelong fans of the sport, and most importantly, man, just enjoy ourselves talking about the game we love, always learning from it and growing with it. So without further ado, boom, we're going to war, gentlemen. Now, week one of the NBA season is in the books. Basically, we started from opening night, October 24th, until Saturday, October 28th. We'll pick up next week on the 29th, this Sunday. And yeah, this recording is taking place on Sunday. So, you know, just be mindful of that. We're covering the 24th through the 28th of this week one in October. So let's jump right into the first team on the list. I mean, we'll just basically, you know, go alphabetically, go in NBA order. Let's talk about Nojo Wallace's sorry ass Atlanta Hawks. How they doing this week, man?
Man, these niggas suck, man. They started off 0-2 with a loss for the loss to the Hornets and a loss to the Knicks, man. And yeah, they're not really looking too well, man. The game I wanted to highlight was the one against the Hornets where they lost 110-116, and yeah, it just looks like brick ball. I was hooping earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, we probably could get them niggas a run for their money. Me and the random 4 niggas I was hooping with today at the gym.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah. But hopefully, he said we who? Oh, me and the random 4 niggas.
We put our hands together, nigga. We can take
no cap. Yeah, these niggas are terrible. But hopefully they can like, you know, get that shit together. But right now they don't look too good.
Yeah, man. That Hornets game. That Hornets game was Hornets are my team too. So, you know, I watched that game, and yeah, that was their first game of the season. So that came Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And yeah, man, I was watching it, and I just have a hard time feeling bad for Trae Young, bro. Like, you know, his style of play, you know, is only sustainable for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
the Hornets ain't a great team, so it wasn't like a decisive victory, nigga. What I felt like I was looking at, the play-in tournament preview. You know what I'm saying? I'm of the opinion that the play-in team is going to be filled with the play-in championship is going to be filled with, these high scoring, high volume, otherwise unlikely to win anything else teams, and so. Yeah, I'm looking at this Hornets game, this Hornets in this Hawks game, and yeah, man. I mean, Atlanta's inconsistent shooting is an issue.
Mhm.
Trae
It's
Young,
like they have no identity.
it's hard to fault them for that because they don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got DeJounte Murray, you know what I'm saying? And they got him towards the end of the season, you know what I'm saying, right at the trade deadline, right? So have him and Trae Young had an opportunity to really congeal and figure out who else is it alongside them. And then also we talked about it like before the pod started, man. Like, the game came down to the wire and Clint Capella had two opportunities to, put a nail in it or tie it up
Bunnies.
and, just shit the bed.
Yeah.
And you can't win with Trae Young alone. And dare I say you can't win with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray alone. And dare I say you can't win with Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and Quinn Snyder alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to take some more pieces. They gave up John Collins, so they got up off of a contract, that was probably taking up a lot more cap space than it was worth. But yeah, man, like I agree that Atlanta has to do something in order to be taken seriously. Like if they 0-2 at this point and, Trae Young was, in conversations alongside Luka, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nope.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's looking like cap right now.
Let's not forget that Trae Young is balding.
Oh, man, don't say it look like a hairy lollipop.
Yeah, that nigga look nasty. I ain't gonna lie.
That nigga got go into his villain area and just shave it bald, bro.
It's the recessive genes, bro.
Cold-blooded. Hey, that's the future of the league, man. Biracial. All right. So what we got next? We got the Boston Celtics next. Gabe, that's your team. How'd they do this week?
Yeah, man. So this is actually two of my teams, man. So I watched this game from start to finish. This game was awesome.
Now, what game
Eastern
we talking
Conference.
about? What game we talking about? Let's let the people in on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So it's Boston Celtics, Miami Heat. They played on Friday. These dudes, it was the Eastern Conference Finals rematch, so it was bad blood. It was a scrappy game, man. I'm gonna take it from Boston's perspective first. JB or Jaylen Brown has kind of gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, but he bounced back, man. He had, I think, 28 points, I believe. I'm sorry, 27 on 11 of 22 shooting. So he bounced back with an efficient scoring night. The biggest thing that I see from the Celtics so far, man, is they've got hella depth, and not necessarily just depth off the bench, but like opening night, Porzingis had 30, right? And then in this game, you've got Jaylen Brown scoring almost 27. So they've got four dudes who at any given night could give you 20, 25 plus, right? You got Jason Tatum is back in form. I like him this year a little bit because he's playing more in the post. He's still shooting hella threes. He shot 10 threes in this game, but he was playing a lot more in the wing and kind of playing a little bully ball. So he's been looking really good.
Very dope, man.
And then, yeah, man. And as far as like Miami, I think they're going to be in trouble. I think they could be in some real trouble this year. It's a scrappy team, but that offense is choppy. That offense is super choppy. Bam is really their saving grace. His offense has continued to progress every year that he's been in the league. I don't think we're going to see a situation where he becomes like a legit 20 and 10 every night. But he's getting there. He's progressing to that place. He's super aggressive. He's always diving to the rim. He's willing to do the dirt. He plays hard defensively. He fits that DNA of that team perfectly. But they're missing something. They don't have enough offense. Hero Ball is back. He's balling like he's upset that he was in trade talks all year. So he's looking nice. But as far as that game, it really just came down to the fact that when you look at like late game situations, Boston's they just outmatched them. They've got too much talent, and I can see Boston this year winning, somewhere in the mid 50s.
Boston looking that good, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
how's Drew? What are your opinions on Drew?
Drew's doing Drew things, man. He's locking up on defense. He's moving the ball. He's scoring. He's picking his spot. I mean, essentially, he's back in the perfect role because I think last year when he was with Milwaukee, he struggled a little bit in the playoffs
There was
because
too much being asked from him, I think.
right, exactly. They were asking him to really be a second scorer, and he's not a second scorer. He's more of like a third, fourth option. He's
Right.
best when he's able to pick his spots, distribute the ball, play defense, spot up, hit some threes. He does really well at like going in the post and picking on smaller guards. And
Mhm.
when he gets the opportunity to do that, I mean, he's really in his wheelhouse.
How do you feel about the Boston's bench though? 'Cause that was my question mark watching them this past week.
I mean, so they don't have any big names coming off the bench, but when you look at like who's coming off the bench and what they're being asked to do, I think they've got guys that fit the role. So like Peyton Pritchard on name recognition, not a lot of people are gonna know who Peyton Pritchard is, but he plays hard and he's a spot up, knockdown 3-point shooter. That's what they need, right? You got Brissett. Brissett's an energy dude. He's running and jumping for every rebound. He's defending hard, and it's not like they don't need people to come off the bench and generate any points. They've got it in their starting lineup. They're always going to have Tatum, Porzingis, or Brown is going to be on the floor. One of those three is always going to be on the floor. So no matter what combination of players you have a primary scoring option. They've got Al Horford, the ageless wonder. All they need him to do is play defense and shoot threes. And so I think as long as their bench guys play their role and play it well, the bench doesn't. That's not really a concern.
Very dope. All right. So next we'll jump to the Brooklyn Nets. That is my team. The Brooklyn Nets, man, I don't they're 0-2 right now. So there was a lot of hype surrounding the Brooklyn Nets coming into the season because Mikal Bridges had such a great final 20 games after the trade deadline with them last season. And yeah, he showed out pretty well during the FIBA World Cup, and there's a lot of hype surrounding Mikal Bridges right now. I think rightfully so. He has the potential to be a star in this league. I really think he played his role in Phoenix. He did what was asked of him. He made a name for himself by playing defense and guarding the toughest opponent on defense for that team, and really made a name for himself. And then with the trade of Kevin Durant to Phoenix, he had an opportunity to basically inherit his own team in Brooklyn, who were still recovering from the loss of Kyrie, Durant, and James Harden, and basically had zero expectations. So I think this is a good opportunity for Mikal Bridges to come in and and really assert himself as a leader of the new school. But unfortunately, there are still missing parts to this Brooklyn team. Cam Thomas is one of my favorite young players, and he rarely got an opportunity to show what he was capable of, even though in the times that he did in the previous season, last couple previous seasons, he's shown out. He's shown himself to be, a microwave scorer, somebody that can really put the ball in the net. So these last couple games have given us, an opportunity to see a sample of what Brooklyn is capable of. Ben Simmons has had some reasonably good games. This first game, 4 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. I'm telling people he's the MVP of my fantasy team because although he's not giving you all-star stats, he's giving you, he's filling up the box. You know what I'm saying? He's got 10 rebounds, 9 assist games, you know what I'm saying? 10
He's playing his game.
games. He's playing his game. But like we mentioned before, this ain't the $30 million kid we were expecting, but he's solid in his role, and I'm expecting, him to remain that. I think a lot of people's expectations for Ben Simmons were, unfairly high. I think he's a solid player, and I think if he stays healthy, he'll continue to play solid. And yeah, I think the second biggest component, or the biggest component outside of those, are going to be people like Nick Claxton and Spencer Dinwiddie, and even to a certain degree Dorian Finney-Smith, just providing, and Cam Johnson, obviously, providing that additional scoring and and just really complementing those main pieces in Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons, and Cam Thomas. But yeah, the game I wanted to talk about was the loss against the Mavs. Like I said, man, they they did what I think was the most that they probably could do. Brooklyn has been a victim of these last minute, last second heartbreaks for the last 2 games in a row. And so it's going to require them to kind of figure out everybody's role in order for them to put a win together. But yeah, I mean, this is the second breakout game from Cam Thomas. He had 30 points this game on 63% shooting. I think he had 36 the game before against Cleveland in that loss. Mikal Bridges had 18 points and you only shot 35%. And Dinwiddie had 23 points off of 6 made threes, and he added 8 assists. So I think that's, and again, we have a fantasy player, all-star game from Ben Simmons and 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. But yeah, man, the real story behind this Mavs Nets game was the Mavs, dog. Like, seeing Luka get down, seeing them congeal in a way that, is more than just outscoring the opponent. Granted, this is a 245 point game, like 120 to 125. Like it's gonna be, a shootout against the Mavs. But Teflon, what is your perspective on that game? I mean, the Mavs being your team, and this probably being a game you'd like to highlight this week too.
Yeah, simply it was just a Luka game.
Yeah,
Clutching out 4 straight threes at the end, and like you said, Brooklyn's 2 games in a row they lost the last second.
right.
So their 0-2 is not really like a bad 0-2
Right.
innings
Right, they're
compared to
scrappy.
They're scrappy, man. But I mean, the late game heroics from Luka, man. I mean, like we getting them already. This game too, we getting them already. And these are some new look Mavericks too. Like Grant Williams and Eric Lively and and Josh Green coming into his sophomore or junior year. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a new look Mavericks. This is a little bit more adventurous team than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, we're already doing
Kyrie?
better.
I don't even think I mentioned Kyrie.
Nah, he's been he's struggling a little bit, but he is one of the older players on the team. So, and they came off traveling off the preseason over in Dubai, so take a minute to get ready.
True that.
But
Kyrie has always been like a mid-season type of player anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect to see after the first 2 games? Like we're gonna get a lot of points. We're gonna get a lot of players shaking the rust off. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not worried about Kyrie.
Yeah, me either. Like, give it a few weeks, he'll kick in.
Yeah.
Big surprise is Derek Lively.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
He's been exactly what this team needs.
Mm-hmm.
Finally got them. He's 7'1".
Yeah.
Finally got some rim protection because it's past few years. It's just been easy buckets in the paint.
Right.
Olay defense.
Yeah, you can even see it when Lively goes up the game because Maxi Kleber can't cover in the paint. He's looking a little bit old in the tooth now.
I mean, I'm not even like I'm thinking back on the Mavs, and then you talking to a former Mavericks fan, like a lifer, from the kid Mashburn, you know what I'm saying, kid Mashburn and Jackson days, you know what I'm saying. Like I've been a Mavs lifer for a long time, and it just doesn't seem like we really have a legacy of dominant big men. There were a couple occasions where we were scheduled to potentially have a DeAndre Jordan, or there were talks between like Shaq and and the Mavs and shit like that. But like overall, there's always been sort of a soft spot in the center of the floor. And we had Tyson Chandler, but he was even before the term existed, he was a stretch 4. You know what I mean?
Before Chandler, we had years of Eric Dampier.
You know what I'm saying?
We had Chris Kaman and Samuel Dallenberg for a few years.
Come on, man.
Center position has been absolute trash for this team.
No, you can't forget the walking poster, Sean Bradley.
Come on, man. Try me, Sean Bradley, nigga. Nigga was 7'6" and a highlight reel, guaranteed highlight reel.
Dunked on every game.
Yeah,
T-Mac
man.
retired him too.
Yeah. So yeah, man. No, it's definitely good to see the Mavs like kind of put it together and not, feel so heliocentric. I mean, Luka is Luka, and you can't there's no defense against that. He does everything he does at an incredible pace at 1 mile an hour, and it's unstoppable. I had to stop hating on his complexion at some point and just give him his.
Actually, one of the good things this year is Luka wants to play at pace.
Yeah,
Kyrie's been putting into his brain.
Yeah, are they moving pretty good?
Yeah, I think we are top 10 in pace this year so far after 2 games.
Okay,
which is I think last year we were like 27th.
Right, small sample size, but at the same time, it shows. Go ahead, Gabe.
I'm sorry. No, I was saying they got some athletes now. You got Josh Green's getting more playing time. Dante Exum coming over from Australia, playing more time. He's pushing pace. Kyrie's pushing the pace. You've got Derek Jones Jr. coming in, so they've got some real athletes, lively like we talked about. I mean, so they've got the players and the personnel to be able to push the pace now. As it is, last year was like a scab team. After that trade happened, we were basically playing with nobody.
No, straight up. What'd you call them? The 2-game tanking?
Yeah. the amount of crap the league has been giving them for tanking 2 games.
But tanking 2 games, man.
Hey, but it was worth it. We got Derek Lively, and whenever Omax Prosper figures it out, that's a good addition as well.
How is he looking? Has he played any real minutes?
Nah, he played in preseason. His handles are just rough.
Yeah.
But if he can at least be a spot up shooter, then he'll probably get some minutes. But we're deep at the guard position, and he's not gonna play over Derek Jones, Kleba, any of the forwards we have, Grant and all them.
Yeah.
So he's probably gonna. We won't see him till unless he make a trade somewhere for the deadline, or not till next year. He'll be a red shirt for the most
I know
part.
depth was an issue too. So, I think some development pieces would be extremely helpful. And like, yeah, you've got a more solid core than you've had in the last couple years, and give Luka something worth fighting for. So shout out to the Mavs, handing Brooklyn that second L of the year. And yeah, man, hopefully Brooklyn gets it together. Up next, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Again, that is Team Blue. And the Charlotte Hornets are, one of those teams that really don't have a whole lot of expectations. LaMelo is coming off of a year where he suffered a season-ending injury, tripping over somebody's fucking foot on the sidelines. That shit kind of pissed me off. And I don't know, man. I think we were seeing it during the women's NCAA tournament, but the kind of sunken audience, like the kind of lifted court and sunken audience. I'm interested if that could be something that is developed in like future arenas to kind of create a bigger space between the game and the audience. Not necessarily like compromising quote unquote floor seats or premium seats or whatnot, but yeah, man, I think that was a totally unnecessary injury and it sidelined LaMelo for an entire year. So it was good. It's good to see him back. He is not shooting efficiently at all. As a matter of fact, the Hornets aren't really shooting efficiently. They were 50% against Atlanta in game 1 in that game that they won. But yeah, shot a total of 37.5% against Detroit in that loss. And that's one of the games I want to talk about. The loss to the Pistons on the 27th, LaMelo had 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, but he shot 23% from the field, man. And that's just rough. Terry Rozier, who's getting off to a great start, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a pro. He's a high-powered, high-octane 2-guard, man. I think any team would be lucky to have a Terry Rozier. He scored 20 points in that loss to the Pistons, but went 0 for 7 from 3. And that's just like, I can't describe how ugly that is. I mean, at 5, I'm like, maybe that's not a 3-point game, you know what I'm saying? But he got his dub. Gordon Hayward is back and playing as we expect Gordon Hayward to provide a 9-19 game. And Brandon Miller has had some solid showings, man. That loss against Charlotte, he had 17.6 rebounds. I think he had 13 points in the season opener against Atlanta. So, it was a good win. It's not a great win. It wasn't a definitive win, but it was a good win against Atlanta despite inconsistent shooting. LaMelo is under 25% just in both games. And I think that, I'm looking at this Charlotte team and I come in with zero expectations, and I'm really here to see the LaMelo show and the Brandon Miller show. And I think if they really want to start putting some wins together, I think Mark Williams has to be more assertive. He was a lot more dominant in the Charlotte game. The Atlanta game over Clint Capella. Way more dominant than he was in the Detroit game versus Jalen Duren. So I think he needs to be a more consistent piece in order for Charlotte to even, think about what the win column looks like. But again, they 1-1. It's still early, and it's clear that, LaMelo and Terry Rozier are still very high-powered scorers, still very capable guards. But LaMelo's coming off a year, a whole year hurt. So I expect some inconsistent shooting. And again, like we're talking about LaMelo Ball, so that play style is going to come with a lot of high volume, and you'll probably fall off on the percentage side of things, just shooting that many shots to begin with. So they'll be interesting to watch. They very clearly miss, I think, the athleticism of a Kai Jones. I still wonder what his situation is. The last time we saw him, he was perked up on Instagram Live.
Bullet.
He's the first player to get cut for being a weirdo.
But he's solid, man. He's solid. Yeah. I don't know how many minutes he was averaging last year. I believe he spent some time in the G League, but I mean, he's a solid athletic. You know what I'm saying? Like stretch big, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he can slash to the rim. He can, he's got length. So I just hate to see, a clear vacancy in Charlotte's needs. And unfortunately, it could have been addressed if, they wasn't weirded out by dude.
you want to hear the fun Twitter conspiracy about him?
What's the Twitter conspiracy about Kai Jones?
He had that massive dunk on Wemby in the summer league, and it's been all down here since then.
Oh man, he hurt the poster child.
They made that call.
The NBA poisoned the well.
Damn, he got that call from upstairs. Hey, you gotta get rid of him. He clearly don't respect the hierarchy.
And that was Wemby's first summer league game too.
Damn. That mean he went after him. And was feeling himself after that, bro. Was challenging Braun to 101 and was saying he was better than Mark Williams on Instagram. Like just a young nigga doing young nigga shit. And my hope is that he'll land somewhere. My hope is that he'll be put in a position to do a little growing. And yeah, man. I mean, Jackson Hayes had similar, young nigga moments. His first couple years in the league, he got on Instagram Live and said, "Fuck the NBA," and now he get to play with LeBron. Whether he's playing good or not is, is up for debate. Whether he's developable, whether he can be developed is still up for debate. But yeah, I'm hoping that it was a small enough infraction to get him picked up somewhere else.
If Josh Primo can be back in the league, Kai Jones can be back in the
Fucking
league.
Josh Primo, bro. This nigga here.
Yo, crazy.
A wiener shower.
We banging over there.
This nigga a wiener flasher.
I want to know what's going on in Charlotte because you got the Kai Jones situation. We got to mention Miles Bridges, a.k.a. Mr. doesn't want to play in the NBA, apparently.
Golly, man. And if you read the stories, man, it's just really sad, bro. It's like, it sounds like dude,
there's no leadership
of his environment, but also like as an adult, like you got to make a decision, and now that kids are involved, that makes it 10 times worse.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, that nigga can rap though.
That nigga can rap.
He's got a career.
That nigga be going.
He got something on the back burner. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, same with Kai Jones. That Kai Jones song ain't had bad.
I ain't heard it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm scared to hear it.
Maybe that's what's going on. They don't want to play in the NBA. They want to be rappers.
Hey, man, it's always been the case, man. The rappers want to be the ballers, and the ballers want to be the rappers. But some of them take it too far. So no, I like some of the Miles Bridges songs. That nigga be rapping for real. But yeah, Kai Jones that's a whole other story, man. Hopefully he lands somewhere.
Maybe whenever MJ sells a team.
I mean, he already sold his part, no?
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. MJ has wiped his hands clean of the bad news Charlotte Hornets. He said, "I can't handle this shit." But he made his money then some. So shout out the GOAT. All right, man. Speaking of the GOAT, up next we got the Chicago Bulls. Rick, how'd your Bulls do this week?
My God. It's just like for me, watching the Bulls is bittersweet because I see the potential that they have. You know what I'm saying? But the game I want to highlight with them is the game versus Toronto. And what I like is that finally I feel like Caruso has a team that he can really ball with. And I guess when LaVine finally steps into his ultimate stardom. I hope he doesn't, you know what I'm saying, become a number 2 to Debo like we all think he's doing. And I don't know, man. Like Kobe White is the dog. I didn't know that, so I'm figuring out that, he got a lot of upside to him as well. So yeah, that the last game they had, it was, pretty close. I think it's too early to tell whether or not they're a tanking team or not. You know what I'm saying? Cause they're competing, you know what I'm saying? I think DeRozan went for 33, 4 rebounds, nigga, 3 steals or 4 steals, 3 assists. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, the niggas balling. So I'm excited about the Bulls and yeah, man.
Yeah. So you were talking about the game against the Raptors. It's one of my teams, man, and we were talking about this before the podcast, but I got 3 words for the Toronto Raptors. It's blow it up. Just blow it up. They got to let it go because they've held on to their players for too long. They're gonna get diminishing returns. Anunoby is not going for anything if they do trade him. But that's beside the point. When we're talking about the actual game, they lost by a point. That was a heartbreaker. Caruso hit a crazy buzzer beater. The only really shining spot so far the last couple games or in the first couple games for Toronto is, of course, has been Scotty Barnes. So far, just through their first 2 games, he's averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists on 55% from the field, 36% from 3. So he's kind of doing it all. He's looking like he is living up to the hype. He's living up to that top draft pick that he was drafted with. They didn't want to trade him when KD was on the block. They did make him available when Dame was on the block, and so it looks like he's paying off. But that he is really the only reason that team is even remotely relevant. Outside of that, they got to let it go.
But that nigga's a grown man.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes is nice.
He's a grown man. Like he plays like a grown man. Even when he was young, he was playing like a grown ass man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and I like how
Hey, boys.
If you watch him play, man, he'll chirp too. He doesn't back down. He'll chirp and he'll get in people's face and he plays physical. I mean, he's what you want in a basketball player, but it's everything else around him is lackluster. And you got Dennis Schroeder, who all of a sudden turns into Kobe Bryant when he goes and plays overseas for Germany. But we'll see how that translates.
You seen that picture of Scotty Barnes and DeAndre Ayton's face last year?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
he giving him the this nigga look.
He's nice, but that's all Toronto has. And Masai Ujiri, I think he's on the clock. I think if he doesn't figure out how to turn Anunoby and Siakam into something valuable, he might be out of there because he let Fred VanVleet, who was a homegrown player, walk for nothing.
For nothing. Hey man, what would you like to see, Scotty? What would be a great fit for Scotty Barnes?
Well, I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's untouchable. But
let's talk. I mean, if he's had enough, if Toronto can't do it and they have to blow up entirely, right? Like, is there a guarantee that he stays?
I don't think anything is a guarantee, but I think we talked about it before the pod, but with the way that they've structured the salary cap and stuff like that, I think it makes it hard for a homegrown player to walk away because they can offer them more than anything in free agency. But if we're just playing just for shits and giggles, like if we're just going to play the hypothetical game, if Scotty Barnes is going to go anywhere,
yeah,
I would say, yeah, I think Scotty Barnes would look good next to, like we talked about Atlanta, right? Atlanta's missing a piece, right? Scotty Barnes in Atlanta would be nice because he gets to take the ball handling away from Trae Young a little bit. He gets to distribute. He can play defense. He can really fill up the stat sheet, and he can score. He can be a legitimate second, third scorer.
Come on, man. You heard it here first. Is Atlanta?
Scotty Barnes to Atlanta.
I'm talking about Barnes, man. Where Gary gonna go, nigga? Gary Trent really the dog.
Yeah, he's liable to have like a Bruce Brown type of impact on the right.
Yeah, he's nice.
And Bruce went around and got a bag off of Denver.
And deservedly so. He looks nice in 100%.
Indiana.
We'll get there, but he's crazy.
Nah, he went dummy. Very dope. We'll appreciate that. Who else? What we got next? We went to the Bulls. We got the Cavs next. Teflon. Let's talk about it.
before we move off the Bulls, I want to say, how y'all feel about they had that players only meeting after one game?
Nigga, after one game, they said, all right,
Crazy. Blow it up.
shit, bro.
Can't skip over that. Coach walked in the locker room saying, "Should I leave?" And they all turned around and said, "Yeah."
Rick, what you gonna do if Chicago lose DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine by the trade deadline?
God damn.
Nigga, the Kobe White agenda begins.
Or Patrick Williams developing at all.
Is he?
He's not.
Yeah, man. That's unfortunate.
Like
He was like what, a top 10 pick, right?
Yeah, they were calling him Baby Kawhi, and he has the Kawhi frame build. Even shoots like him a little bit.
This nigga got the my player build and not the stat.
Does absolutely nothing.
Well, shout out Kobe White and Caruso, Alex Caruso. It'll soon be your team, gentlemen. Did you see Andre Drummond shake the fucking shoes hungry?
Oh man, he broke his ankles.
They asked him if that was his welcome to the league moment. He said, next question.
Oh, 100%.
Nigga, your welcome to the league moment came from Andre Drummond.
Bro, that was a weak ass move too. Nigga just failed.
Hey, Andre Drummond's still nice though. He's still nice.
Yeah, Andre
bro,
Drummond
he's still playing for a reason.
Andre Drummond is the best rebounder of this generation.
What they got to do with him crossing niggas over and making them fall?
Absolutely nothing.
That's crazy.
Yo, the best rebounder is a crazy statement though. I might have to return to that next week.
I mean, Jalen Duren might be coming for that title. Give him a few years.
Maybe he's next, but I'm thinking like, yeah, of this generation. Now I gotta go back and do my Googles.
Yeah, nah, he was nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. All right, bet. Tef, Cavs, what they looking like?
In the game, I'm highlight with them their loss against Indiana Pacers the other day.
Yeah.
It was Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell both out, but it was the Mobley show. The bright spot for that game on their side.
They need him, man. They need him to show up this year. It's a prove it year for him.
Yeah, if he continues to play like this, Jared Allen's gonna be very expendable.
Damn.
Get them a nice forward, move Mobley to the 5, because he had 33 and 14 rebounds and 3 blocks.
And I mean, that's the only way that he's gonna work next to Donovan and Garland is if he's at the 5.
Yeah, he can't work next to another inside center. Even though Mobley can stretch it out from the mid range, that pairing
it shrinks the floor.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna be a team that I can see them making a move during the trade deadline. But this team's looking good. They just need to get healthy. That's the main thing. Garland's played,
which is crazy for week 1.
Hey, you see a lot of players taking rest days already.
Yeah. You know, Indiana's depth really, I think, is going to be a strength of theirs, man, because, is Mobley playing defense? Because Miles Turner put up 20 against them and had 12 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? What was Mobley's stat line that game? I mean,
he had 33 points, 3 blocks, and 14 rebounds.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, a solid big man battle. You know what I'm saying?
He held his own. It was Halliburton and all these guards on Indiana just torching.
Yeah, Neesmith,
Dean Wade, Max Strus, Karis LeVert, who plays no D whatsoever.
Yeah.
Did y'all see?
Go ahead.
Did y'all see? Tyrese Halliburton hit 4 threes in a row, like in a minute, and then start chirping at a fan. He did the Michael Jordan shoulder shrug.
Oh no!
Yeah, Tyrese was talking his shit that last game.
He's nice, man. That Team USA run really propelled him. He's looking nice.
He's leading the league in assists right now,
and that's
at about almost 13 a game.
Crazy,
putting up prime Chris Paul stats.
Mm-hmm. He scored 143 points on opening night.
He did the chirping against Washington.
What team was that?
I know he has 4 threes against Cavs, so it might be.
He had 3 threes against the Cavs. But yeah, man, he deserves to definitely be in his bag. He deserves to definitely be like, you know, to talk that shit, bro. Because Like, yeah, there was a lot of potential there, man. We had that, that situation where he really thought he was going to grow with Sacramento, and and they did a win now move and got rid of him and sent him to Indiana, man. I think like having him under Rick Carlisle, just letting them play free, not insisting that he change his jump shot. And then, yeah, just continuing to surround them with like young depth, man. Like Neesmith is a problem. You recently got Bruce Brown. You got Buddy Hield ready to pull that motherfucker at any point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like the Ben Matherin. You know what I'm saying? Like the Pacers have some depth, bro. They got, you know what I'm saying? They got some firepower, man. I think they can put that together. They can put together a decent play-in campaign.
And y'all got one of my pet cats from the draft, Jarris Walker, just waiting in the cut.
Yeah.
But Rick Harlow, he don't like playing rookie, so.
I think that Indiana's going to be routinely putting up like 130, 135. I mean, they've got guys who can run up and down the court all day long, and they traded for Obi Toppin, who's like he's an alley waiting to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a Rick Harlow team.
Yeah, which is why Halliburton's averaging 13 assists. I mean, he's got guys who can score from everywhere, shoot. I mean, that's a fun team. I can see them maybe creeping into top 6, but definitely a playoff team for sure.
Yeah, if they can stay healthy this year.
I think they'll only get better, bro. I think they have so many young pieces that are solid, that can score, that can put up points. These niggas dropped 143 points in game 1. You know what I'm saying? That shit was fucking nuts, bro. I'm gonna wait till I get to my side to talk about that game. But yeah, man, the Pacers are looking real good. And the Cavs are what, 1-2?
Yeah, they just gotta get healthy.
Yeah, I want to see them put it together, man. Darius Garland is I'm a fan of Darius Garland, and I'm interested to see in how that 1-2, that backcourt with Spider is going to play out, if it shows any sort of future promise or if this is just a resting spot until Spider moves to his next destination.
Yeah, I see them giving Spider this year, maybe next year, and then if it doesn't work out, definitely
maybe Gobert wasn't the problem.
Donovan can't defend.
I mean,
got T-Rex arms.
I mean,
they're literally I was gonna call them the min-max Cavaliers because they got a super small backcourt and they got a super tall front court, just minimum height, and they got maximum height on the other end. But it's just the odd team.
They bad build. They got a nigga on there too named the minivan. Who is that?
Georges Niang.
Georges Niang.
Wait, why is his name the nickname the minivan?
Bro, have you seen his build?
Look
like one of us. What is it? Gilbert said he had a baby mama body.
Oh, I think I know who you talk. I think I remember seeing him.
This nigga got the short arms, the long torso, the pot belly.
He got the bodega body.
Oh yeah. It's a nasty looking nigga.
Hey, he can hoop though.
Yeah, he's a shooter.
No, he is a metaphor for how bad built the Cleveland Cavaliers are. Like, they need to think about that.
Got that Boris Diaw build.
I think they could get a.
Oh, that's where I seen him. He's with Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could get a decent return for Jared Allen if they can rely on Evan Mobley. So keep an eye out for that.
Who needs a center?
The Pelicans.
I mean, we got Lively.
Yeah, y'all got y'all.
I love a good backup. I'll take Drummond, but not trading a pick for Jared Allen.
That's a championship move. Chill out, Teflon. Adding Drummond. Chill out, y'all. You might actually win something.
Hey, we got a trade a TPE $4 million. Take Drummond for nothing. Give him a little second round pick.
Right quick. Up next we had the Mavs. We did discuss that Brooklyn versus Dallas game. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Just how the Mavs are looking? I know we gave the Mavs a little bit of airspace, and
fucking Tim Hardaway Jr. Talk about a first half. First half, he is Reggie Miller, can't miss, perfect player. Second half, he turns into a G leaguer, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world.
They got there smoking cigarettes at halftime.
It was the Nets game. He had a fast break 2-on-1, misses a floater, gets the rebound, puts up a spin mid-range shot, misses that, and you can just see the frustration on Luka, just in the back, like, yo, just give me the ball.
Right.
He doesn't. His shot diets is horrible.
At least he's not starting.
Yeah, right. The Mavs at one point, the Mavs expected him to be number 2, number 3.
Yeah.
So
Last
the
year
fall from grace is crazy. But I
the
mean,
little
he's been that guy all along.
the little nugget I heard is the reason why he's getting so much burn is they're trying to showcase him to get him traded.
Hey man, that is a
Yeah.
tactic. That is a tactic.
Yeah, so I expect these first couple games, first 10, 15, especially around was it December 15th, while the exceptions signing players can get traded again.
Yeah.
They're gonna showcase him a lot.
Scouts eyes only, nigga. That's what this is for.
Because Jaden Hardy and Seth Curry can easily take over for his production. Ready to get him out of here.
I'm with it, man. Shout out Mavs, man. They got they're poised to, the first round, second round exit.
Yeah. I got them as a 6 seed at best this year.
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
At worst, they're 10th fighting for a play-in.
Luka not gonna stay like Dirk, man. You can't give him 20 years. He ain't gonna give you 20 years and 1 championship, bro.
Hey, you got Luka and Dirk out here looking like the cutest couple wearing each other's names on their jerseys at the Rangers game. So he might stay.
I don't
Please
know.
don't put that in there. I can't. If we lose Luca, like I might have to just be a full-time Boston Celtics fan.
It's gonna take more than one. It's gonna take more than one. I don't think he's like morally, ethically built like Dirk. I think Dirk found a home. I think Dirk was a poor German kid, you know what I'm saying? And the league wasn't, hadn't seen anything like that before. And we showed him our commitment to him. But, at this point, if you're gonna be discussed as a great, and if you've been playing basketball for as long as Luka been playing basketball already, I think winning is more important than having a home than niggas being loyal to you. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you start talking about motherfuckers' legacy.
Yeah, I give them this offseason is gonna be very crucial for them. Well, they can start packaging some money together to bring some players, and the cap goes up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this
and
offseason
they making some beneficial moves, man. I think they like we talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying? We got a brand new look Mavs, so I think they're doing the right thing. And like, all right, we have to surround him with capable talent, not just B-list and C-listers. I think they realize that. I think they realize how important winning is, and that the clock is on.
Because you put Luka on any other team, swap him for the best player, and they're an instant championship team.
I'm telling you right now, Luka gonna wind up in Miami at the end of his career.
Does he seem like he cultured to you?
He cried too much.
During the off season.
Because
when he playing for Slovenia,
Miami has a body fat percentage requirement.
Yeah, and he's real trim when he's playing for Slovenia. But then he gets to the NBA.
He come here and get that barbecue.
Get some of that Terry Blacks.
Right, running at half speed, nigga. All right, man. Up next, we got the Denver Nuggets, the reigning champion Denver Nuggets. As expected, the Nuggets are 3-0. I mean, they're like the non-champion, right? Like there has been so little fanfare across the league regarding, their last year's win. Like you ask any pedestrian NBA fan, and I doubt that they're likely to tell you that the Nuggets won the championship last year. That's how little fanfare has been. It's kind of been, kind of a vacuum in Denver. I'm sure they still celebrating, but yeah, man, it just felt like, it felt like a non-champions championship. Joker is not the player that the NBA heads and the men behind the cloak want him to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga does not give a fuck about basketball. I take that back. He does. He obviously cares about basketball, but he is not about the selling the brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's the most disinterested all-star we've had in a long time. And honestly, I think that's good for the game. I don't think everybody needs to be a soft shoeing fucking company, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think everybody need to be sucking and jiving and smiling in front of cameras. And I hate to say that because I'm talking about some niggas. But I really feel like, basketball, especially the NBA, should have room for personalities. And not everybody is a spokesman and ambassador for the game, in personality. And I think that's fine. Like, bro, come in, do his job better than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And and they got a very San Antonio Spurs like championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, And I think it was really on display night one against the Lakers, man. That was their 2023 ring ceremony. I don't know if y'all saw these fucking championship rings, bro. But I might just have to get in shape and sign me up for a 10-day. And
that ring was nice.
that ring is fucking dumb, nigga. That ring is fucking, and they're only getting dumber, bro. It has a banner that pulls out and acts as a second smaller ring. Like, I want you to envision that. The side of the ring, the inside comes out of the side of the ring, and the inside is a no less impressive, but only slightly smaller ring that's in the shape of a banner, of their championship banner. Flooded with diamonds, flooded with jewels, solid gold. Like, it's a beautiful fucking ring, man. All fucking twists and turns and shit like that. But really dope ring ceremony. And yeah, they reminded you that game that the defending champs are still in championship form. Jokic was unstoppable. The team runs really precise and effective sets offensively. And they're very disciplined. The starters played over 30 minutes that game. Joker had 29, 13, and 11. That gives him the sixth most triple doubles, just one short of fourth place, and tying LeBron for the number of triple doubles he's had. Murray had an excellent and very efficient game, 21 and 6, 62% from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. KCP had a great game, continuing to show himself. Nigga, KCP is a 2-time champion. Kentavious Caldwell Pope is a 2-time champion in 3 years. That shit is crazy, but also it shows I think the value of a solid role player, a 3-and-D nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man plays excellent defense, and he can get buckets when he's, you know what I'm saying, the third, fourth option, fifth option sometimes. So what is it? Aaron Gordon had 15, 7 and 5. He shot 64%. Michael Porter Jr. had 12 and 12. He hit 2 of 9 threes. And he'll just get better. But yeah, man, the defending champs are still in championship form. And it's crazy because, like, you know, this was also the Lakers' first game. And it was actually a lot closer than the ending sort of told you. I mean, 107-119 is not a blowout. But the Nuggets had decidedly won by the fourth quarter. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that AD completely disappeared in the second half. He went 0-6. He went over 6.
The nigga didn't score, right?
He went over 6 in the second half, and he only attempted one shot in the fourth quarter.
And he had 17 points in the first half.
And it was a 3-pointer. So, no, man, Denver shot 53% as a team, 41% from 3 compared to the 46% and 34.5% by LA. And yeah, man, they just look really good, man. They ran the same play in different variations, like 6 times back to back, going down on the offensive side of the ball, bro. Like, run the same set, small variations, tweaks to what you see. And like, yeah, man, they just a well-oiled machine. And I think people are asleep if they don't think the defending champions have, you know, another shot at this. Probably some of the better odds of going back to back than some of the other juggernaut teams we expect. But yeah, man, open the season, decisive victory in Denver against the Lakers. Thanks to a no-show from Anthony Davis during the second half. And yeah, man, they just look really good. They look really clean, really crisp, and know what they're doing, man. And a healthy Joker and a healthy Murray is just going to, you know, continue to remind folks why they won. You know, the well-run teams, the disciplined teams. It's not just about talent at this point. The talent is obviously there, nigga. We talking about, you know, Jokic. We're talking about Jamal Murray. We're talking about a lot of, you know, high-value pieces, all champions at this point. And yeah, they play the game well. They play the game the right way.
Yeah, no, them niggas is nice.
Yo, can we talk about...
even if the Lakers did everything they needed to do, they still would lose. You know what I mean? Like, even if Anthony Davis was still playing like Anthony Davis, they still would have lost to the Nuggets. They're just like that, basically.
Does Anthony Davis shy away from other big men?
Yes.
He's the most underwhelming superstar ever.
But also, man, you got to remember, man, a lot of these teams can't do nothing with Murray either. So they be worried about Jokic and his alley-oop behind the back fancy pass having ass
Whoopsie
skill
daisy,
set.
nigga.
Man, whoopsie daisy ass game, man. Whoopie cushion ass game. Man, Jamal Murray is a hard nosed baller, bro. Like,
Yeah, he take good
and,
shots.
and he can fuck around and give you 37 a night.
Yeah, and Gordon's sneaky nice. Like he
No, I
Gordon's
love
underappreciated.
Gordon in this role, man. He was never supposed to be the one guy, and like even being the third guy, allowing him to play defense, allowing him to play like power forward, nigga. Like that's that adds just 10 more years to his game potentially. He ain't just a high flyer. He ain't the guy who's supposed to be bringing the ball up the court. He's the guy that like can get into that dunker spot, you know what I'm saying? Can jump over everybody, can give 110% on the rebounding side of the ball, you know what I'm saying? Like they got some they have championship pieces, bro, and it's going to be hard to convince me that they won't be in the conference finals this year.
And they got some good young players on that team. Peyton Watson.
Yeah.
Now I see why their GM said what they said about Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
They're not gonna miss him. Peyton's better, bigger,
And they're going to develop
passes
him.
better.
Yeah. They're going to develop him.
Whenever Julian Strother gets some more minutes, that's a player you're gonna love.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about him too. I've heard like in the sort of Denver Nuggets community, like a lot of hype around him.
Oh, he was a player I was hoping fall to the second round
Yeah.
to get to the Mavs because he's a 6'7" just sniper. Just imagine Trae Young but 6'7" with less handles.
No, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I have to do my Googles on him. But yeah, man, I'm looking at the Lakers schedule, and I know we got time to get to the Lakers. But yeah, like the two games that Anthony Davis had was like up against non-centers, so we may have just fallen into something. But yeah, man, up next we have the Detroit Pistons. Tef, how them Pistons looking?
They are fun to watch. They look just defensively. They're just all dogs. Just everybody in that lineup's 22 and younger. Sar Thompson looks nice. Can't shoot to save his life, but defensively, he's already there.
Didn't he have 5 blocks on opening night?
He had 3 blocks in 1 possession in the first quarter.
God damn.
Like Jalen Durant is averaging 3 blocks a game, and Asar is number 2 with 2 a game.
Yeah, and Jalen Duren is like he's like a vacuum. Boy's getting like I think he's averaging like 15 rebounds a game, something crazy.
Yeah, he's putting up ridiculous stats, and they're doing all this with horrible spacing. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Because outside of Cade, nobody can shoot on their starting lineup.
Yeah. Are they in the first 5 to 7 players? Is Jalen Duren a 7-footer, or is he just under 7 feet?
Oh, Jalen Duren is like 6'9".
Yeah, so like they're kind of undersized, no?
Yeah, it's him and Beef Stew, both 6'8", 6'9".
But they've got like 5 centers because they also have
Isaiah.
Dude from. Well, they have Duren, Isaiah Stewart. They got
they got Wiseman who's getting DNPs.
Right, Wiseman. I don't know why I was blanking on him.
Yeah, Wiseman ain't even seeing the floor.
Yeah, they really don't need him.
And then still got Marvin Bagley.
I was about to say, and who's the backup? Bagley. Yeah, and Bagley's getting more minutes than Wiseman, and Wiseman was higher anticipated. That's a tough break for him.
And you got Jaden Ivey coming off the bench.
Yep. Do you see the Monty Williams effect? Do you see a small amount of development or discipline in this young team?
Yeah, they're more defensively locked in. They still do dumb turnovers because
they're
young team, but defensively this team's nice, and they got
Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is gonna be great. He's looking real good. He's a big guard. He's like a great value Luka.
Yeah, same height and everything.
And they 2-1, man. So I mean,
and they absolutely dismantled this Bull team. You had Zach LaVine go for a career night of 51 for nothing in a blowout.
Yeah, I'll put some money on that game too for Zach LaVine. He definitely went over and beyond.
Yeah,
that's another team that needs to blow it up.
They're doing all this without Bogdan, or is it Bojan? One of the Bogdanoviches.
One of the Bogdanoviches.
They're doing it without him. Wiseman's getting DNPs. It's a fun team. They're probably not going to win a lot of games, but beginning of the season, if you need a league pass team to watch, it's definitely the Pistons.
Mm.
They're running super fast pace. Everybody's hustling.
How's the Thompson twin?
Nice. Can't shoot, but he's getting in this Bulls game. He had 12 rebounds, 5 assists.
Oh,
9
damn.
points.
Yeah, getting active.
He's their second leading rebounder for the season.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he'll probably make like an all rookie team for sure. He's gonna probably be second team all rookie at least.
If he ever learns a shot, boy, they got their 3 guard or their forward for the future.
Yeah, all he needs to do is shoot. He's got the D part.
And Killian Hayes actually looking kind of nice.
Is he?
Yeah, he's getting some shots, playing D. He's not being a negative on the team, which is a big step for him.
Yeah.
He's getting 20 to 25 minutes a game. And then Alec Burks comes in, who they probably can get almost a first round pick for him.
For Alec Burks?
Yeah, he's real good on this team.
Yeah,
he's an incredible shooter.
I think they should hold on to him.
And they got Joe Harris just come in, hit a 3, then go sit down.
Yeah, right. Now Joe Harris is like he's not the Joe Harris of old. He's not the Joe Harris of his first year in Brooklyn. I don't know what happened to this nigga. I don't know if he started betting on games or what.
No, his injuries caught up to him.
Got you.
I think it was back. Who was it?
Back, ankle, it's everything.
Yeah.
They got a guard named Marcus Sasser who is just a little Patrick Beverly out there. Just stout.
So the scrappy Detroit Pistons, man. The scrappy young Detroit Pistons. We got to keep an eye on them.
Most definitely.
All right. Rick, how them Warriors looking?
Oh, yes, sir. My motherfucking Warriors. You know what's crazy? I don't consider myself a bandwagon fan because I'm naturally a fan of players. So being paired with, you know what I'm saying, one of the greatest teams ever to play basketball is actually my pleasure to cover this year. The game that I want to talk about, and I'd like to talk about with my boy, is the Golden State versus Phoenix game. Yo, Booker had a taste for Indian food because all he wanted was chicken curry, nigga. Yo, Booker was going crazy, bruh. And also, man, I think friendships play a really deep role in, of course, you know, the synergy between people. But you can tell that Booker and KD really do have a genuine affinity for each other. You know, just the way that they play. They just trade off so nicely, bro. It's like watching 2 ball hog niggas be like learn how to share with each other is like the most beautiful thing I've seen.
And being able to ball hog alongside each other, like like share the ball hog responsibility.
Great, man. It's the best thing in town, the best show on earth. It is interesting though. Curry hasn't lost a step. He's still the human cheat code. But I think my silent sleeper would have to be Moody, bro. Like,
he's
who is this young nigga, bro?
Yeah, Moody nice.
Him and Kuminga are finally.
Moody is a baller. Like Moody can really hoop, bro. Oh shit. Wrong turn. Sorry. I'm dropping my son off. I apologize. But yeah, Moody is a dog. But also, you know, I think we found Curry's kryptonite, man. And it's like when Curry is against a bigger physical guard, bro, he kind of shrink, bro. Okogie.
Yeah.
Okogie was playing. He was playing penitentiary ball, bro. I think
he's the Suns X factor for sure.
Yo, I did not know about him, and in watching the Warriors, I became a fan of, you know, a whole nother team's player. But man, that dude is a dog. I'm talking about getting after everything on defense, scoring at will, dunking on niggas, stealing the ball. I'm looking at this thing like, yo,
who is this nigga?
He's playing like he's playing for a contract.
The crazy thing is that I feel like Golden State played championship ball in the third quarter only, and so
That is the
now,
story of the Warriors. Like the Warriors have the legendary third quarters. Like
man,
that's a real trend.
right. So I acknowledge that was definitely a real thing. I'm like, damn, these niggas when they are firing on all cylinders, they are great. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
man. No,
anybody else?
I'm with you, man. It was a great game. I took some notes on that game too. The Suns, they are what we thought they were. Like they've got that offense is crazy, man. That offense is super potent. When they're firing, they're really hard to stop. But I think it's already right. The injury concerns are already there. You had Beal miss opening night, and then in their second game, you had Beal and Booker miss, and so already we're seeing KD is they're really relying on KD. I mean, he played 39 minutes in the game against the Lakers. He scored 39 points in that game, but he played 39 minutes. So I think it's going to be really they got to really watch like the load management and how much he's playing. But I mean, their offense is potent. The problem is though, like when it comes to late game situations with that team, they lack ball movement. They play a lot of like drive and kick. So it's really like late clock drive and kick out for a long or a late shot clock three. And so I think Suns will they'll be fine during the regular season, but come playoff time, if they're not totally healthy, it's going to be a problem. But like you mentioned, Rick, I think Josh Okogie is their X factor. The dude, he plays like he's on fire, and like literally, he's running around the court. He's grabbing every loose ball. He's double jumping, triple tipping on everything. That he's their X factor for sure. I think he's locked into that as that fifth starter for sure. Most definitely. But
Rick, how you feel about the Chris Paul addition to the Warriors? What's that look like?
Yo, what's cool about Chris Paul is that he plays to the level of the people around him, man. So if you give him all stars, he is going to adapt like an all-star and like he is, you know what I'm saying? And so I think he's at home. I think he's somewhere where he can be the vet, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, and actually lead these guys to the promised land, possibly. I think they have a really good chance of doing that. And they're deep, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I look forward to seeing what Paul can do with the younger guards, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think everything will work out fine for him.
Don't sleep on Golden State, man. Klay, it didn't start off quickly, but I think Klay is just warming up. I peeked on the timeline. It's Sunday, so forgive me. Sunday the 29th. I peeked on the timeline and I saw fucking Steph Curry shaking Dylan Brooks out of his shoes.
oh my
He crossed the
goodness.
dome.
Yo, like three different times on the same play, bro.
Each other though, bro. They was definitely trading off, bro.
Yeah.
No, and then the celebration. Then he put his hands on his face. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man, it got real nasty. So Steph is exactly what the legend says. You know what I'm saying? And I think, yeah, opening up the roster a little bit, giving him, somebody to distribute a little bit, staggering him and Chris Paul's minutes. And yeah, man, just continuing to develop the few young pieces that they have, man. Moses Moody is definitely going to be a hooper. And I hope he continues to develop in this Golden State system. But yeah, Golden State is definitely, they still in the conversation. A lot has happened in the West. A lot has been said about the West ultimate playoff picture, and there's a lot of players in the West playoff picture. But I think we would be mistaken to count out Golden State, whether for age, whether for fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Of seeing them, or the fatigue the older players might be experiencing. You know what I'm saying? Like on both sides of that. So I just think that we can't count the Warriors out just yet. Up next, we got the Houston Rockets. No Joe, it's your team, man. How you doing?
Yeah, man, we are 0-2 right now. with a loss to the Magic and the Spurs. These I really don't see them doing no better than they did last year. In all honesty, they picked up Dylan Brooks, and I don't really like. I guess he can like annoy the shit out the niggas, but I don't think he's really gonna help them get any better than what they really was last year. And then, but who they did pick up was Van Vliet, and I think Van Vliet was pretty nice. In the game against the Spurs, he had 24, 8 rebounds and 12 assists. So the nigga was hooping. Basically everybody was hooping. Wemby just started turning up on their ass, and around the fourth quarter he started playing, and yeah, he started whooping their ass, and they lost 122 to 126. And I didn't know that they had Jeff Green neither. His old ass was kind of locking some shit up too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Jeff Green is one of those vets that if he's still playing for a reason, you know,
Yeah.
he's bounced around. I think he's played on. I think he's played of active players. He's played on the second most teams outside of Ish Smith. I believe that's the Jeff Green stat, the random Jeff Green stat of the day. But he's played on a lot of teams and he's positively contributed, man. I mean, he's in the same draft as KD.
That's crazy. And ain't bro like 38 or some shit? Nigga old than a bitch.
Yeah, they call him Uncle Jeff Green.
Hell yeah, dude. The nigga okay. No shit, I forgot about what's the nigga? How you say his last name? Sinjin or Sin? How you say that nigga last name?
Sengun.
Man, what the fuck? This nigga was hooping against the Spurs. This nigga was going crazy. Nigga had
Baby
25,
Jokic,
14, and 7.
He's baby Jokic.
Sengun is
Man, I'm seeing. He was giving Zach Collins hell. I don't really think Wemby was really on him, but Zach Collins, he was giving that nigga hell. Like it was really, really bad.
No, Sengun, like he has been incredibly talented, but he also toughened up. I feel like this offseason or the end of last season and into now, man, he's toughened up a lot, and yeah, I feel like he's a lot more sure of himself. He's been kind of given, you know, a role in the middle of that offense alongside Jabari Parker, Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith?
Yeah.
Jabari Smith. Yeah. So no, I like the way they carry themselves, bro. Of course, 0-2 is still 0-2. They still the Houston Rockets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, they've been at the bottom of the league for a minute, but I don't know, man. Like it's a lot of raw talent on that team. I don't know if Ime is the guy to put it all together, but I'm interested to see in how Houston continues to develop over the year, especially with a veteran guard in Van Vliet. With third year Jalen Green, another Thompson twin. And yeah, man, they got some pieces, man. They got some pieces. It's just about putting it together, you know, and it's a tough West, man. It's a tough West, and they already starting at the bottom. So
I think they're gonna stay there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right, man. Up next, we got the Indiana Pacers. My Indiana Pacers, man. This week they are 2-0, so they've won both of their games. I love the way the Pacers are looking, man. Like I said, we had an opportunity to kind of talk briefly about them already. You know, they've got a lot of depth, a lot of young depth, and they can really score. I think that alongside, the Rockets, the Hornets, the Wizards, they part of these like very high-powered offensive teams that lack the discipline to be real championship contenders or lack the experience to be real championship contenders, but are incredibly fun to watch. And I think honestly, like I'm looking at these teams and I'm like, these are play-in tournament teams. Like if anybody has something to play for in these specific in this new invention in this secondary award, then it's teams like those who really don't have a championship to compete for and can put up a lot of can put up a lot of points on a random Tuesday or random Thursday. So I really like the Pacers as like one of those teams and potentially a play-in team. Now, the game specifically that I wanted to cover was their opening game against the Wizards. in which they won 143 to 120. Absolutely zero defense being played. Probably the best LA Fitness game I've ever witnessed in my entire life, man. Like no defense. But it was good to see, especially game one, what those type of offenses look like. We got to see, the Kuz and Poole experiment, kind of take shape game one with on the Washington side. And then on the Pacers side, they had 8 players in double figures. So like, I mean, they have weapons. They had Halliburton had 20 points, 11 assists, shooting 53% from the field. Bruce Brown came in and hit 6 3-pointers. Just an incredible veteran addition, a champion, and somebody who can really, just add a spark. You know what I'm saying? Add some offense, and that experience is it can't be understated, bro. Like, having a champion on your team is the difference between being a losing franchise and a competing franchise. And like they have somebody on their team now who knows what that looks like, and a wealth of talent and youth. So I think, that's a pretty good combination to make some noise. Ben Mathurin, who told us he was gonna be better than LeBron, or LeBron was gonna have to show him, what I'm saying, some how good he is on his draft night. He continues to impress. He had 18, 4, and 5 against the Wizards. Toppin and Turner both had 11 points each. And Buddy Hield came in and contributed 4 3-pointers and 14 points, man. So, again, zero defense being played. Tyrese Halliburton has been given the keys. We, watched him, go from, rookie and lovable rookie with the Sacramento Kings to the harsh reality that they couldn't exist. Him and De'Aaron Fox couldn't exist in the same universe and benefit from each other. And so, the tough decision was made to move him to Indiana. He's done nothing but show us that he's a number one option, that he is the guy if you put him in the situation to be the guy. So, an outstanding showing during FIBA, and he just continues to impress. He led the league in assists last year, or at least for a stretch last year, and he's already picking up where he left off. So I'm happy to see Halliburton do well.
Yeah, man, I think that's one of those rare trades that works out for both teams, because like you said, Halliburton is shining. He's got his team. He's the man there. They're building the franchise around him. And then we saw what the Kings did last year, right? De'Aaron Fox matured. De'Aaron Fox showed that he can also be the face of a franchise. And dude, I think he's probably the fastest player in the NBA with the ball in his hand. So yeah, Halliburton's great. That trade worked out great for both teams. And 143 points is crazy. That's not going to be the first time. I can almost guarantee you that they're probably going to score 140 at least 2 or 3 more times this year.
Hey man,
because there are worse
we've had
defensive teams in the league, and they're going to play one
Yeah.
point, and it's going to be nice.
we had some really high scoring games already. We know the type of year that we were coming off of last year. I did see a flopping penalty called in this past week, so that's hopeful to kind of cut the theatrics down to a minimum, at least starting the year off, to kind of help set a precedent. They did the same thing with being real adamant about travels and carries in the first half of last season. Just kind of set a standard early on. They might have fallen off a little bit later, but I think it kind of helped set a standard early on. And I think just like, with the year we had the year before, the amount of talent we have and the lack of defense played by those high octane teams, like we're definitely going to have some high scoring games this year, man. I'm excited for it, man. These smaller markets, they need a draw. And I think the play-in tournament is one of those opportunities. And just continuing to build off of young talent and and have high scoring, high octane games from tip off to close. So that was a fun game, a fun league pass game for opening day. And man, I'm excited to see like where the Pacers, where they land, in the next couple weeks. I'll be watching them real closely. Up next we have the Clippers. I know Rick was handling some daddy responsibilities, so
Yeah, no, I'll take it, man. I think we're playing the Jazz that game, right?
yeah, the Clippers and the Jazz was the game he highlighted. He's going to highlight.
Yeah, that's the same one that I picked too, man.
Okay.
So I'll take it from the Jazz perspective, man. The Jazz, last year Cinderellas. Whether you agree with me or not, Blue, I think they're last year Cinderellas for sure because they got off to such a crazy start, and I
Yeah,
think
they did.
everybody expected them to be like a 10-20 win team, and there was a little minute there where they thought they looked like they were going to make the playoffs, and then they decided, probably rightfully so, that it was better for them to tank. But this
Mhm.
game was nice. They lost. It was a 118. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Jazz actually won this game 120 to 118. I'm sorry. It was impressive, man. The Jazz are a fun team to watch. That's another team that if you want to watch a young team that moves the ball really well, that shoots good, that has everybody involved, I think that's another league pass team to watch. But my biggest question coming into the year thinking about the Jazz was wondering, like, hey, is Lowry marketing for real? Right? Was last year just a flash in the pan? Was it a fluke, or is he legitimately like an All NBA, All Star caliber player? And I think that answer is yes. I think he's for real. Uh, he he's in the perfect system. He's technically the number one, but I don't think he's expected to go out there and score 30 points a night. They've got an excellent young coach in Will Hardy. They've got a lot of young talent. Jordan Clarkson out there has got the greenest light in the whole NBA. The dude can just go out there and shoot as much as he wants. THT's looking nice. They're doing the point guard by committee thing with THT, Chris Dunn, and it's working out. John Collins looks like he's still working his way into a decent fit there, but he looks like he's going to be nice there. Kelly Olynyk, uh, which I got to see a lot of during the FIBA games because he's Canadian, so he was starting for them. But Kelly Olynyk is a nice stabilizing player there. Walker Kessler, I think he's going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year this year
Oh yeah,
because dude gets like 2 or 3 blocks a game, and he's
he's a wall.
built like a brick house.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and he's actually developing a 3-point shot. I think he made a three in the corner in the beginning of the game, and so they look nice, man. You got Colin Sexton, who's coming off the bench, who's accepted that role, who's embraced that role, so he gets to come in and pound the floor in his defensive stance. Coming off the bench, man, Jazz are nice, man. I don't know how many games they'll win. I don't think that they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll probably top out around 30, 40 wins, and maybe they'll in that 10, 11, 12 range. But they're a fun team to watch, and I know I don't dislike the Clippers, but I don't mind watching the LA team lose. So to watch it, to have the Jazz knock them off is cool, man. I think the Jazz are building something nice. They've got Danny Ainge, aka the draft wizard. There, dude, they got like a treasure chest of draft picks from everywhere because of that Gobert trade and the other subsequent trades they made last year.
Right.
I don't envision them making any big moves unless they can, unless they're winning like mid-year, unless they're winning and they need a point guard. That's the only thing I can see them doing. But I think right now they're staying pat and just letting the young guys play and then kind of letting everybody try out for the next couple years to see what they got. But and Jazz is a fun team to watch, man.
Hey man,
How's
give the name back to the Pelicans. All right,
how's
that's my
how's
only.
how's John Collins look though on that team?
He's good. I think he's still finding his way. The problem is he's not a consistent 3-point shooter. And because he's not a consistent 3-point shooter, it's hard to put him in the lineup because he's too small to be a 5 and he's not a good enough shooter to put next to a guy like Walker Kessler who's 100% their starting center. That's why they do a lot of Kelly Olynyk because Kelly Olynyk can stretch the floor and he can play big and because he's big and physical, and can stretch the floor, you can put him next to Walker Kessler, who's kind of sort of not, he's not a non-shooter, but he's not a big threat from three. Much like the same problem that the Mavericks have with Derek Lively right now. He's a non-shooter, so they got to play a lot of Maxi Kleber or Derek Jones Jr. at the 4, like people who are shooters. I think John Collins can be a good fit, but he's got to get back to shooting close to 40% from three because the last couple years in Atlanta, outside of like injuries, he was shooting like sub 35% from three, and that's not going to cut it. Not when you can't be a five. So I think he's going
Yeah.
to be a good fit there. He can be, but it'll be tough.
The small ball five is in a renaissance right now, but again, that does require a certain baseline level of toughness. And I don't know that John Collins has ever, outside of being a high flying dunker, I don't know that he's ever exhibited the type of toughness to consistently to perform consistently at the five,
Yeah,
like
he
a
can't play the
Draymond
five.
Green or like a
No.
Larry Nance or something like that.
Yeah, I'm also unsure if he's ever got that finger fixed on his shooting hand.
Yeah, because if you've seen pictures of it, man,
That finger is
it's pretty
disgusting.
gross. Yeah, his fingers torn
So
up.
he hasn't been able to shoot since that injury.
Damn. Well, hopefully
Yeah,
the Jazz come up off the name, revert to the high or the fucking Queens or whatever the fuck you know, B
Whatever goes on in that
reference.
state.
Right. Yeah, whatever the fuck happens in Utah. Well, I appreciate that, Gabe. No, Joe, let's talk about them Lakers, man. What's the story?
Man, this week we went 1-1. We lost to the Nuggets, and we won against the Suns. They really look like they looked last year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see no advancements. The game I highlighted was the one against the Suns. LeBron played like he always plays, 21, 9, and 8. And AD picked up the slack from the last game. One thing I've noticed about AD is if he plays like ass one game, he kind of comes back, he plays better, but then he goes back to playing like ass. So it's he always makes up for it somehow. KD had 39 points. I ain't gonna lie, we probably should have lost that game, but I guess with them missing Devin Booker and missing Bill.
Beal. Yeah.
It kind of helped a little bit. If they was there, we would have got our ass whooped. But we beat a little handicap Phoenix.
Hey, good teams
Yeah,
win
man.
the games they supposed to win. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I know Joe, you mentioned it, and I said a little bit earlier when I was talking about the Suns, but KD 39 points in 39 minutes is wild, and he's doing it. I mean, I understand that because of like training and things like that. Like guys playing into their mid to late 30s isn't as crazy as they used to be. But dude
Mhm.
put up 39 points in 39 minutes. He's 36 years old, or 35 or 36, and so
Yeah, that's crazy.
he's looking nice. I think the question with him is like it's been the last 4 or 5 years is how many games is he going to play, and with it that being the second game of the year and him playing 39 minutes, that's not going to cut it long term. And so once
Yeah,
again, injury concerns are going to be it's going to make or break their season. So
definitely.
Right on, man. Well, the Lakers have high expectations as they always do. And you hearing it from Nojo that we'll get 41 excellent games from Anthony Davis and 40 shitty games from Anthony Davis. So,
a
Definitely.
literal half-ass.
you know what I'm saying? Street clothes. Hey man, look. Now my vendetta against Anthony Davis may be, a little
Personal.
historically tied to, his exit from New Orleans and things like that. Man, I was a fan of him in New Orleans. I became a fan of New Orleans, the team, by the time he was gone, man. But yeah, I just don't know how tough we can make dude. I just don't know. Like, there's no amount of bullying that's making him feel like he has to prove a point every night, night in, night out. But again, this is still early in a new season, where we may be getting a different version of Anthony Davis this year. I think that's good for basketball. I think that's good for the Lakers. And I think, yeah, the fire is lit under him. Essentially, LeBron is, pretty much said this is his team. So if he can do that for, more than 40 games this season, I think, I think they may be a force to be reckoned with. But again, like they're coming off a Western Conference final sweep,
Yeah.
to the Nuggets. Like,
Yeah, I've heard people say that was the most competitive sweep. I don't want to hear that shit. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as a competitive sweep. You got swept.
That's just the
Right.
Lakers copium.
You got swept.
right.
There's
On the
there's
coat.
a gentleman's sweep, which is like you get one game, but you got swept. There's no such thing as competitive sweep. That's like mainstream bigwig narrative about the
That's
Lakers
that
and
good
like,
old
hey,
Lakers delusion, man. That's that good
yeah,
old Lakers fan delusion, man. It's like, you know,
like
we
I'm
can't,
a Cowboys fan, I get it,
yeah.
but
It's like we didn't lose, they won.
right, exactly.
Nigga,
It's
shut
not.
up.
Yeah,
Nah, but I feel like
that's worse
with
than like
AD though, if AD plays, they'll go. You know what I mean? They can get there if AD plays, but if he don't play, like LeBron can't do it by himself. You
No,
know?
no,
not in
Ain't
year
no.
gonna do it.
21.
LeBron's probably gonna miss 20 or 30 games. Like it's gonna happen. Like he's an amazing player. He's the greatest players of all time, and we can have that debate at another time if you want to. But he's not gonna play 80 games. It's not gonna
Mm.
happen. And so, and I said it earlier. Like AD is the most underwhelming superstar ever. Like
Yeah. All right,
he's
Gabe.
talented.
Well, you on your high horse already. Let's talk about the underperforming ass Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, man. Memphis Grizzlies. Look, this team, they're scrappy. I mean, it's Memphis. It's in their DNA.
Yeah.
Like Memphis has been it's a scrappy franchise, right? And so it's a scrappy team. I think my big takeaway, because this is also the game that I chose to highlight. My biggest takeaway is Desmond Bain. He's worth
He's
all that
him.
money they gave him.
He's him on the Grizzlies right now. Now the
He
Grizzlies
is,
are what, as of this recording, what, 0-2?
yeah,
And
man.
a lot of that has to do with the injuries and the absences, right?
Yep. You got Fafa Morant. He's not there. You know what I mean? And so he won't be there for the next 25 games. They've got Steven Adams out for the year. Brandon Clark at maybe will be back after All-Star break at best. So this team, they're up against it. They're scrappy. They play hard. I think the biggest problem right now is Jaren Jackson Jr. Right? He has the same problem that he was having during FIBA. Like the dude, he doesn't rebound. I don't understand how you can be that tall, that athletic, that talented, and you can't rebound the ball. And so that's going to be a big problem. Their depth is going to be a problem because you've got a lot of guys, because of all the injuries and absences, you've got guys playing outside of their normal roles, right? You're asking Desmond Bain, he can do it, but can he really sustain scoring 25, 30 a night, being the primary offensive option?
Is he a true number one?
He's not. And so they're going to struggle, and it's expected. I think if they can come out of this 25 game stretch without John Morant at like 10 and 15, that's a win because, I mean, they're missing. Their offense was already stagnant and was already like ball dominant, pick and roll heavy, lacking shooting with John Morant. And so without him, it's even worse. And the one thing that I am happy to see though, Derrick Rose has still got game.
Oh
Derrick
yeah.
Rose is still out there playing. Like watching the maturation in his game has been such a good thing to see. It's been really like it's been a nice story to see. Like he's still out there moving the ball. His game is now predicated on that like crafty, getting into the lane, finding his spots, hitting that little mid-range pull-up. You know, he's making cross-court passes. You know, he's making the right reads. He's moving the ball around. He's bouncing around on offense. He's still got spring. He's never going to be, you know, Derrick Rose pre-knee injury, obviously, but he's still got a really good first step. And he can approximate a lot of the same things John Morant does, but without that primary number one scoring option, they're gonna sputter until they get him back.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday. I think that they said that they're gonna sign Bismack Biyombo.
I saw that
but
too.
technically they can't sign him until after the fifth game Morant misses because then Morant's eligible to be put on like essentially like injury reserve, and then that opens up a roster spot for them to be able to sign Biyombo. But
That sounds like a tampering fine too. If you ain't even supposed to be, if that ain't even supposed to be in the rumor mill right now, if that's not even possible right now, then they may get tagged with a little 20 for that.
ah man, so they're looking in. That's funny you mentioned that because they're actually looking into the Suns for tampering for Drew Eubanks of all people.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, Suns already don't have draft picks. So
Yeah.
if they get found,
They lost a draft pick over Drew Eubanks.
yeah, that's gonna be a real problem for them because they have none. And
Hell
so,
yeah.
but yeah, man, I think
Memphis is 0
again,
3, and I think that there's some shining parts, and I think that like the story is absence and injury, right? You lose Steven Adams for the whole year to a surgery. Who else? They have another big man.
Brandon Clark, he
Brandon
tore his
Clark.
Achilles last year.
Yeah, he tore his Achilles, so he's going to be out. He's out indefinitely. You got Ja for about 22 more games. Like they're gonna have to figure out a way to put together some wins before it becomes a downhill slip. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they're
and
already 0-3.
it's 25 games, but really and truly, like he's got to get into game shape. So
And the
he'll
fact
be
that we're
back
not
after.
talking about Triple J as like a primary feature of this offense, or at least at the very least, being, the defensive player of the year that, he's been awarded, like, he continues to have foul trouble. They continue to attack him in order to
Well, because he's
get
not a
him in the
five.
and yeah, and it's disappointing for those who had high hopes for Triple J because his weaknesses are so glaring. It's almost textbook how to get him uninvolved. You know what I mean? Like he's
Get
gonna
him
have to
in foul
figure out.
trouble.
Yeah, get him in foul trouble. It's as simple as that. And
Yeah,
and I'm noticing, you talked about the game you want to highlight being the Pelicans. I'm noticing how he's like the second line of defense for the most part. He's that last stand at the goal, kind of like a Gobert
exactly.
type defender where okay, if somebody's man get beat, then he's there to pick up the defensive slack. But, with that comes you challenging every shot. And challenging every
That
shot at the rim is going to guarantee you
fouls,
foul trouble. You know what I mean?
and
So
that's why
how
Steven
do you
Adams
become a
was so
more
important.
how do you become a more competent defender without compromising, your defensive dominance?
Yeah, and that's why Steven Adams was so important
Yeah,
is so important for that team because he allows Triple J to roam. He gets to roam and
right.
just kind of play that weak side defense and get those blocks.
Yeah.
Much like the same reason why they play Wemby at the 4 and not the 5, because he needs somebody to stretch the floor so he can kind of be that roamer on defense. It's like classic shot blocker, right? In this area, they need somebody to play the 5 so he can roam around on the 4s who like to stretch the floor and he can dive in last minute and get those weak side blocks. But without a legitimate 5, he can't do that. And
Who
he's
do you like
too foul
better,
prone.
Jay or Bam Adebayo?
Oh, Bam.
Bam.
Because Bam's got an offensive game.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Triple
looking
J
at
can shoot, but
Triple J's stats. He really doesn't rebound.
he
Bro,
doesn't rebound.
God, John Conchar is averaging more rebounds than Jaren Jackson.
He doesn't rebound. It's so
That's
frustrating because
ridiculous.
there's no excuse. It's all effort.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
We say Anthony Davis has been underwhelming.
is,
Jaren is up there with them.
is Jaren DeAndre Ayton with a gracious 3-second call in the paint?
Man, I don't know,
With,
man.
with an
Triple
extra
J,
because like this man is a camper too. I was watching during the Pelicans game. I was like, man, he's getting away with a lot of 3 seconds defensive 3 seconds. But you defensive player of the year,
They barely call that in the
the
league.
seconds are a little low. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got the few rim protectors you do have are given a lot of grace in that 3 seconds. But yeah, man, I mean, that game against the Pelicans, he had a couple standout blocks. He had the blocks you would expect him to have, you know what I'm saying, the 3 early blocks against Zion, you know what I'm saying, who just continued to pound the paint regardless, and eventually, Zion got a nice poster on him, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, he
2 in
put
a row in the same sequence.
yeah. So the Pelicans look really good against them, man, and yeah, they're going to suffer. Until they can overcome injury and absences. I feel like 0-3 is a tough start for Memphis. Let's talk about that. You talked about the Heat game, or the Heat and Boston game, Gabe. But how are the Heat looking overall?
I think the Heat are again what we expected them to be. They're a tough, they're a scrappy team. They have an amazing coach, so they're gonna get wins because they can scheme and game plan to get wins. I think they're going to have to address the depth. I think the common sort of like narrative around the Heat is that they always figure it out. They always figure it out. They just find these diamonds in the rough, and for the most part, that's true. But at some point, your luck is going to run out because, like, while a lot of their young guys look good, they're none of them really look like they're actually ready to contribute in any real capacity. So that's putting an incredible amount of pressure on Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, who are really their only true viable offensive options. Those are the only two guys they got on their team who can go get their own shot. I mean, well, Tyler Hero as well, but he's more of a he's a streaky scorer, so he still needs somebody to give him the ball. I don't think you can trust Tyler Hero running the point, and Kyle Lowry is. I love Kyle Lowry, but he's
I
built
was
like
just going to say,
somebody's
guess who you
stepmama.
haven't mentioned?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry.
Fat ass Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
Didn't he
man.
put up a
He put up
32
a
minutes in Cardiff?
0-point game, bro.
That nigga built like a lunch lady.
Yeah.
This man had 3 rebounds, 1 assist. What is it? No, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and 0 points, and 4 personal fouls, nigga.
Yeah, and so they're gonna have to go and make a move. I know that they
This man had a
they held
triple
out.
too.
Yeah, they held out. They didn't want to get in the Bradley Beal thing because they wanted to hold out for Dame. They didn't make a good enough offer to try to get Dame, and so now they lost Gabe Vincent, they lost Matt Strus. That's 2 rotation players that were huge for them last year, and so they're gonna have to go out and make a move for a point guard because Kyle Lowry is not going to be able to be their long-term starter. And Tyler Hero at the point, he's not enough of a playmaker to make it happen. And so right now they're just alternating between Hero and Butler bringing the ball up the court. And so they're going to win some games, but until they bring in a real point guard, they're going to struggle. And the good thing for them is it looks like Duncan Robinson is back to what he looked like a couple years ago. That game he went 3 for 6 from 3, and so that's what they need from him. But again, I think their biggest thing is they need more offense and they need a point guard.
Bro, he was minus. I don't even do plus and minus. He was minus 20 against the Timberwolves on Saturday.
Kyle Lowry is. I don't want Wash is. I don't like calling people Wash because he is and he was a good player for a very long time, but he is not somebody who needs to be starting.
Again,
he's like a 10 to 15
situation where some vets do take a while to warm up. Again, this is game 3, right? These are 3 games into the season. So there's still time there. But yeah, if they hope to get some production or some trade value out of Kyle Lowry, then he's gonna have to play a whole lot. He's gonna have to do a whole lot more than 2-2-2 and 4.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And then they got Kevin Love, who I love Kevin Love, man. He's the outlet pass king, but that dude should not be in the starting lineup either.
No, because he's in the golden hour of his career.
Yeah, he's on Golden Girls time. So it's like they got to bring in some depth. So, Miami's up against it right now until they decide to make a
question
move.
mark. Miami's a big question mark. They might not have it's hard to see them having the season they had last year. It's hard to see them having the postseason they had last year.
No, because they don't have the personnel.
We're not expected. I mean, they kind of coasted during the regular season and and kind of dipped a little bit, up and down. And then, of course, the postseason came around, and that's when, the lore took effect, and postseason Jimmy Butler and postseason Miami Heat, really turned up. But again, still early in the season, but I do feel like something has to be shaken up in the playmaker aspect in order for Bam, Jimmy, Hero, and others to be successful.
Agreed.
I see them being one of the most aggressive teams in the trade deadline.
Yeah,
Regardless of what the record is.
Yeah. Let's see, man. Rick, are you with us still?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, what's going on?
Okay. Just checking, because we got the Bucks up next, man. You know what I'm saying? We got Freak Time in Cream City.
Bro, we are not doing that.
That's their official nickname.
You know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. But I do want to give props to Kelly Oubre because, for one, for somebody who's been a passionate follower of him, it's good to see him get cooked by such an elite player. But to put up 27 in a losing effort, and then almost get the breakaway point. You know what I'm saying? Like being a part of another great player's story is still, being down in history too. So, shout out to Kelly Oubre for that. That was the craziest crossover I ever seen in the that was I'm sorry, if you saw the game, you know which crossover I'm talking about. But Dame and what's crazy is bagless Giannis. It's almost as if Dame is that's his saving grace, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that Giannis is big and dominant. You know what I'm saying? Pause, but he still kind of has a limit in this changing, league. And just for Dame to come in and really like not miss a step, bro. I mean, he just looked like he having fun, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, just to see that and witness it as a Dame fan, like I'm super happy about it all, bro. Super happy.
Yeah, dude had 13 free throws in the game, so super aggressive.
Yeah,
we'll get to that cut for sure.
I think Dame hit every free throw, didn't he?
13 to 13. I think he had 37 points or 39.
Come on, bro. Stop playing with him. He is not one of them.
And what's crazy is that, like, yeah, it was one of those last minute shot type games. I'm saying, and before this season, Milwaukee didn't really have that. You know what I'm saying? You either, Giannis is fucking tumbling downhill, you know what I'm saying, trying to make the last minute shot, or he's kicking it out to somebody like a Grayson Allen or, a Jrue Holiday and hoping that they come through, with the defensive collapse on top of Giannis. And, that's a toss up. You know what I'm saying? Like, as capable role players as they are, nobody was really winning late games for Milwaukee if not named Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so to have Dame and to have a genuinely clutch player, I think gives Milwaukee a whole nother dimension. And, Giannis is I think he has acknowledged his weaknesses, whether that's his outside shot, whether that's, the diversity in his skill set, is putting it lightly, or his free throw shooting. You know what I'm saying? He's acknowledged his weaknesses, even though he got finessed by Hakeem Olajuwon this offseason. He paid like 30 racks to Hakeem Olajuwon to camp with him one-on-one, and
50 racks.
50 racks. And yeah, same bag. But yeah, to have Dame, to have a clutch player like that, somebody who can hit, you know what I'm saying, a 40-foot three-pointer with the game on the line, you know what I'm saying? Like that's in his DNA. That's who Dame is. And so that gives Milwaukee a totally different dimension than they had with Chris Middleton or Jrue Holiday or Grayson Allen as the second, third, or fourth best player on their team.
Yeah, I think
or Robin Lopez,
I think the nice thing to see is that Giannis in game one has like completely ceded late game control to Dame. Right?
Yeah.
Like much to your say, right? To your point, him acknowledging the weaknesses in his skill set, understanding that Dame gets to plug those. And so watching him like concede to him and let him, cook like he does during Dame time is super encouraging. And Chris Middleton is in the perfect role. He gets to be a true like third option. He's not really a second option. And so he gets to, play his game. So I think they're going to be good. They're going to be great, not good. They're going to be great. They're going to be an Eastern Conference Finals team for sure. Of course,
definitely, it just based off first look, second best team in the East. Are we agreeing with that?
Yeah, I got them there.
Second best team in the East after 2-3 games?
Yeah.
All right, man. Up next, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves, Mr. Ant Davis himself. Y'all see that commercial where he's throwing out everybody's kicks? Have you seen his ad campaign for the Ant ones?
Yeah, that was a funny video.
Nah, I fuck with that, man. And I fuck with Ant, you know what I'm saying, kind of stepping outside his shell. He's always been a character, man, but I think like FIBA gave him, a little bit more spotlight than, Minnesota had given him an opportunity to have in the past couple seasons. And yeah, man, it's gonna be the Anthony Edwards show until further notice. Man, I like the Timberwolves, man. I like the T-Wolves. I like the T-Wolves because Kevin Garnett was my first jersey. I like the T-Wolves because Prince is from Minneapolis. I like the T-Wolves because of the success I had hoped they had during the KG, Steph Marbury, Tom Gugliotta era. And even before the Cat Gobert experiment, I still had a small affinity for the T-Wolves, and I see a lot of potential, and I want to feel like I see what they were doing with Gobert and Cat, and it's it's taking some shape. I don't know what that shape is just yet, but it's taking some shape. But if ultimately it leads to, Cat just upping his trade stock to clear up some salary cap, and and fix the spacing a little bit more for the Timberwolves, then so be it. But the Timberwolves are currently 1-1. They lost their opening game to Toronto, which was kind of embarrassing. It was a valiant effort, but it was still a loss. And yeah, so they come to their home opener and are gifted a breakout game from the cult hero Naz Reid, man. I'm a big Naz Reid guy. I had hoped one of my teams had picked him up, man, but he got that extension, and deservedly so, because even as essentially the third center on that team, undersized and with a smaller profile, Naz Reid is a huge contributor to, the paint presence, the defensive identity, the effort, coming off the bench for Minnesota, man. And he had a pretty big game, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 4 3-pointers. And I know I said I wasn't into plus minus because I hate analytics during that when we was talking about Miami. But I mean, bro is a plus 30. I don't know how often you see that, in a stat sheet, especially a guy coming off the bench being plus 30. So valiant effort by the T-Wolves, who are still figuring it out, still getting it together. Anthony Davis had 19 points and 7 assists. Mike Conley had 14 points and 5 assists. Both Cat and Rudy Gobert scored in double digits, had double-digit rebounding, 12 and 10 and 14 and 14 respectively. Neither of them had a block during that Heat game, which is interesting to me. I'm not sure. I don't have up immediately how Bam performed, but I am interested in just like previously in the Toronto game, both of them had 4 blocks. Cat and Gobert had 4 blocks against Toronto in that loss. And Bam, had a reasonable game, shot 50%, 19 points, not a whole lot of rebounds. But yeah, I'm interested in just, the development of this Cat Gobert. I think that's the major story, obviously, behind, Anthony Davis's ascension. I think is, how do you work with that crazy, bad spaced front court, right? How do Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns coexist on this team? So yeah, right now it's looking a little shaky, but again, this is early on. I think the absence of Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love kind of helped them snatch this win away. Obviously, alongside the heroics of Naz Reid. But yeah, man, the Timberwolves are going to be an interesting team because, Anthony Edwards is poised to be a star in this league, but again, a shaky start, a loss to the T-Wolves, a valiant effort against the Heat, but with the level of talent that the Timberwolves have, and the Heat missing Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love, I feel like it should have been a little bit more of a decisive win. So I'm interested in, just how the T-Wolves continue to develop and what changes they may make by the trade deadline. Gabe, do you have any comments on that game against your Heat? Gabe, Earth to Gabe. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel about the T-Wolves, man. We keep it moving. Up next, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. My team. This is actually my team, nigga. Like I'm super excited about what's happening in New Orleans, and I've been telling niggas for the last 2 to 3 years, like just let this shit come together. You know what I'm saying? Let boys get healthy. You know what I'm saying? And you'll actually see like just you know how prepared these guys are to compete at the top of the West. And for about a month last season, the New Orleans Pelicans were the number one team in the West. We lost Zion, and then shit just went downhill from there. We lost like 10 in a row. Shit happens. But yeah, we started off the season with a win in Memphis. Looking good, looking great, seeing how Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson can coexist alongside one another. That inside-out game is crazy. We had a huge game from Matt Ryan, who put a dagger in our hearts as a Laker last year and has now joined us in our efforts to dominate the West. The former DoorDash driver gave us like 4 or 5 3-pointers against Memphis. Didn't do as great against the Knicks in the New Orleans home opener, but nonetheless, we do have a lot of really great pieces surrounding Zion Wilson and Brandon Ingram. CJ McCollum continues to be that savvy, reliable vet. Apparently he came into training camp in the best shape out of anyone. This being his longest postseason ever because he's always made the postseason as a trailblazer and his 1 year in New Orleans in the play-in. So this was a longer offseason than he's ever had. He got some surgeries done that, were long overdue, but he held the team down, and put us on his shoulders, when we were absent Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram last year. So the vet came in refreshed, balling. This game against the Knicks, the Pelicans won 96 to 87. Brandon Ingram had 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. He shot 11 for 17 from the field. Zion had 24, 5, and 2. He shot 70% from the field. And CJ had 12 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals. So the Pelicans are looking good, man. We're short Grand Theft Auto Alvarado. We're short Trey Murphy. But Jordan Hawkins, the rookie out of UConn, is looking good. And yeah, man, motherfucking Herb Jones. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was snubbed for first team all defense. But he's definitely one of the premier young defenders in the league. Herb Jones held Jalen Brunson to 4 of 14 shooting and had 3 blocks against the Knicks. So he's showing himself very capable. That 3-point shot has been been getting worked on over the summer. He's looking good free. He's slashing to the cup, and providing outlet opportunities and assist opportunities for playmakers like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. And yeah, man, the team defense shut down Julius Randle as well, man. Held him to 415, 27% shooting. No Nick in this game scored 20 points or over. And the Pelicans' big three combined for 62 points. So more of this, and we will absolutely be talking about the Pelicans at the top of the West. Come mid.
I don't know about.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Come
I don't know
on,
about top of the,
not at the very top, not the tippy top, but up there for sure.
more like middle, bottom.
Y'all were asleep during the run in January last year where we were number one for 3-4 weeks. Y'all was asleep during that.
I was watching because I'm a Herb Jones fan, but
yeah,
I
bro, Trey Murphy, when Trey Murphy returns, like it's gonna be undeniable, bro. Like the Pelicans have all the pieces you need to be a successful team. The one weak spot I felt like we had or we expressed last season was at the center position, and that's just because Jonas Valanciunas isn't as quick on his feet as the offense sort of predicates. And his backup is Larry Nance Jr., who was also dealing with a slew of injuries and already at a disadvantage being a small ball 5. So, I mean, you just add the athleticism and the instant offense from Trey Murphy. He's put on some weight over the summer, so I think he'll be a little bit more of a capable defender. You give us our backup guard and and defensive heart of this team and Jose Alvarado. You give those guys a couple weeks to re-enter the rotation, man, and I really don't see a lot of weak spots for the New Orleans Pelicans, bro. I'm giving y'all the opportunity to go ahead and drink the Kool-Aid early because they're gonna surprise you this year. I say this every year. I'm hoping Zion doesn't fucking hyperextend his fucking
Does
thigh.
Zion play more than 50 games?
Yeah, you got to give me a healthy Zion year for me to
I think
actually.
Zion will give us 45. I think
That,
at minimum he's giving us 45.
that's not enough.
Man, look.
That's not even enough to qualify for any awards this year.
It won't qualify for any awards, but it'll be more than he's done in the last 2 seasons. And that's the minimum. That's what I'm hoping the minimum. That's me being an optimistic Pels fan. It's like I just want to see Zion for at least half the season. A little
I
over.
hope so because he's incredible. He's really, really fun to watch. I will give
He's
him
finding
that.
his
He's
rhythm.
so
He
fun to
he
watch.
hasn't even reached his full form yet. Like he's finding his rhythm. He has to kind of remind himself how dominant he can be just because he's he spent so much time away from the court. So like yeah, I'm like once he's able to remind himself of how nice he is, bro. Like we're going to consistently have a 60, 65, 70 point big three.
Yeah, and stay away from them hoes too.
Oh, that's crazy.
We won't even talk about Mariah Mills.
I forgot all about that.
This nigga went and found every Instagram OnlyFans hottie in his bookmarks, nigga, and said, "I'm fucking."
He can't.
And
help-
I'm tricking.
I
He
can
can't help
now.
it. He's he's an anime kid. He got that money and just
Bro, it
started
just
wilding.
every fantasy he could squeeze into 2-3 seasons, bro. So yeah, man. Hopefully, I mean, dude got a daughter on the way, man. So hopefully that's like, some
The dad powers kicking.
dad powers kicking in. I can attest to the dad powers kicking in, man. I'm back on this podcast, Mike, because my dad powers kicked in. So I believe I'm all in on the Pelicans hype, man, and I'll be an army of one. I'll be, standing on this.
I will say, if the Pelicans can stay healthy, they're going to be a team that the top, like the Nuggets, whoever's at the top of the West is going to want to avoid.
Hey man, we gave
First round.
Nuggets problems last year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Jokic wasn't playing, but we still gave them niggas problems.
teams are going to either tank or try their best to get out the first round with them.
Yeah. No, man, I'm all about that Pelicans propaganda. I hope my bias was very clear and easy for listeners to identify. No, Joe, let's jump into the Knicks. What's cracking, man? I mean, I just talked about them getting spanked by the Pelicans. So,
Yeah, that actually was the game I highlighted. I ain't gonna lie. Man, yeah, we went 1-1 this week. We beat the Hawks and we lost to the Pelicans. I want to highlight that game though, because they really exposed Herb Jones, and I guess I didn't really see if the rest of the defense did it, but I seen Herb Jones specifically doing this. So if everybody on the opposing team stands on the right side of the of the court, they're not going to score. The Knicks not going to score. Nobody can go right, and so they was fucking him up with that for real. And then Zion was cooking Julius Randle. It was bad.
He lost that battle, man. Julius Randle lost that battle.
It was very, very bad. Brunson was broke in a bitch. Julius Randle was broke in a bitch. And RJ Barrett, he played all right. But yeah, everybody else was broke. And it was just them forcing them left. Like, niggas did not, forcing them right. They left-handed. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson is left-handed. So forcing them right, really, it seemed like it just fucked their head up, basically.
How do you say the Pelicans were ranked in defense already, Teflon?
They are currently number 1.
Come on, man.
And you can see it.
Talk about it.
And like I said in the preseason, once you put a long guard on Jalen Brunson, he can't do nothing.
Yeah. Bro was locking his ass up. It was kind of sad to watch.
So what's the story of the Knicks this year? I mean, are we going to have to, like, is Julius Randle going to put it together? Is Jalen Brunson the leader they were looking for? Is that Villanova connection between, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson, like, worth the amount of money they put up for it? Like,
Man, I
Before
to
you
you, I
ever see a
really can't
basketball court
call
again.
it. I really can't even call it. Like I don't. Yeah, I don't know. They really was last year. They seemed very mid to me, but they did pretty good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They still look just as mid, but maybe they can fix it. I don't think DiVincenzo was like that great of a pickup to be like, oh, we're gonna really do something this week. Like he's cool, you know.
Yeah. He plays good defense. He'll hit a couple solid threes. You know,
But
everybody.
he's not a big like game changer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Does he affect winning? Right.
Yeah. So yeah, all in all, I think they'll probably have an eye season this year. Maybe like first, second. No, I don't even think the second round. I think they'll make it to the playoffs though.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on the Knicks. That story is still developing, and who knows, man? I mean, it feels like a prove it year for Julius Randle. You know, I don't know if Knick fans gonna continue to tolerate the up and down. If that's an investment, you know, that the organization is willing to continue to make.
Yeah, they're already in trade rumors as is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're hoping that Embiid wants out of Philly.
They're gonna
Or
sell the whole
Cat.
Yeah. Or Cat.
They
Cat does
better
not
not
move
go
the
for
needle.
Cat. That's gonna be a bad move if they go get Cat.
I don't know. I'm not impressed by Cat. I'm not impressed by Cat by any stretch of the imagination.
The
Like
best shooting big man of all time.
I ain't gonna lie, he weak in the hope. I really don't like Cat.
You know who's out shooting him?
My
His team.
sentiments exactly, no, Joe. I'm not fucking with Big Puss, man. I ain't fucking with Big Puss. All right, up next we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Teflon, what's the word on the Thunder?
They did this. Finished this week 2-0. They did lose today, Sunday, as we're recording, but we say that for next episode.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren is that guy. I'm highlighting the OKC versus Cavs game.
Okay.
Donovan had a big night. That was 43 off for him. But this is a fun team to watch. They move the ball, they cut. They finally got a big man, which is they've been lacking for the past 2 years.
Is that what you would call Chet?
He's their center. Yeah, he's their big man.
Yeah.
Even though he's built like a straw. He's getting blocks. He had 7 blocks this game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is
him and Mobley was going at it.
Yeah, this is the game Mobley was struggling in.
You said what?
This is the game Mobley was struggling in. What, 5 for 12?
Oh yeah. He was sitting on. It looked like he was sitting on Chet though. From what I seen, it looked like he was sitting on Chet for a little bit.
But this team, I think the only negative I have for this OKC team so far is Josh Giddey's production. He's been very.
Do you think he's lost in the chemistry of the team? Do you think like he kind of lost his place?
He can't really stretch the floor. He's more a facilitator. He'll get boards, get assists. Is just him not being able to stretch the floor and Shea being a mid-range point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he kind of just gets lost on all plays, just sits there on the 3-point line. He might get like a grenade when the clock's running out and he'll somehow make it work. But yeah, especially with Chet in the offense now, he's getting pushed down that ladder when it comes to taking shots.
Yeah.
Because for this game, Jalen Williams had 14 shots. Lou Dort had an efficient 9 for 13. Chet had 9. Giddey had 8. Even Isaiah Joe, who came off the bench, had more shots than Josh Giddey.
Damn.
But that's their only negative. What we're going to do with him, see if he picks it up. Because last year he had a good year.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you adding a monumental piece in Chet. You know, he's gonna require more. You know, he's gonna require more looks. It just kind of upsets the balance. I think it kind of fucks with the chemistry a little bit. So he's gonna have to, you know, kind of refine his role a little bit.
If they can get that put together, that's gonna be a team that's scary, especially in the next year or two.
I like the way it looks, but again, like I'm looking at a playoff, a play-in / in-season tournament team.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
they're
Like
definitely a play-in team.
Yeah. What about the Magic, man? You got two teams back to back. How's the Orlando Magic looking?
Another team that went 2-0 this week.
Yeah.
Paolo's been underwhelming. He hasn't really had his big game. It's really been the Wagner brothers and Cole Anthony
Mm-hmm.
highlighting this game. Them against the Blazers. And yeah, that was a Cole Anthony game. That was a team game. Wagner had 17 off the bench.
Yeah.
Just a very efficient team. Ball's moving. They're playing with pace. And once Paolo gets going, this is also another team that's gonna be very fun to watch in the East.
I like the pieces that the Magic have, man. The Magic have like some hoopers. So like, yeah, I'm interested in like, like once they're competing, what they'll be competing for. Again, the bottom 2/3 of the East is wide open. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have your usual suspects, and then it's pretty much, any team that wants to make a name for themselves have an opportunity to do so in the East. So, yeah, I'm interested to see, what direction Orlando is going and how competitive they can be, once all the pieces are clicking. Because they got a lot of weapons, man, and they're tough. They play hard. You got Wendell Carter Jr., he's a solid center, you got Paolo, you got Cole Anthony, you got Jalen Suggs, and you got the rookie from Dallas, Black, Anthony Black.
Chet Howard, Caleb Houston.
You know what I'm saying? Even MAGA, Isaiah.
Yeah. John Isaac. It's good to see him back.
John Isaac. Yeah, stop Jalen Green at the rim. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jalen Green tried to make a poster out of Jonathan Isaac. And he said, not today, Blackie.
He'd be a big addition to the team if they can stay healthy with him.
Not today, NBA young boy. So yeah.
Didn't he drop like some MAGA shoes?
Bro, Jonathan Isaac is straight Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah. And I keep seeing a bunch of Mavs saying want to trade for him, and I'm just like, nah.
Of course they do. Of course.
That's understandable.
Isaac and Kyrie Irving in the same room together?
Not trying to hear that conversation.
But I'm interested to see what Magic do with this guard situation, because they had 4 good guards that I have in mind.
Yeah, they got that guard. Fultz, Suggs, Cole Anthony.
And they got Black waiting in the wing.
Yeah.
Because right now it's
man, run fast, you know what I'm saying? Lots of scoring options. And yeah, just like put it together. What do we know about the coach?
His name slipped my mind.
I feel like he might be a first or second year guy too.
Yeah, he was the assistant on the Mavs. So me not knowing this is
damn, it's a shot to your Mavs fandom.
Yeah, because I actually really liked him as a coach.
Yeah, man, but yeah, I love the way they run and they play hard, and yeah, they all seem like, you know what I'm saying, they got a tough guy complex. It's a lot of light skin energy.
Jamal Mosley. Yeah, they got a good coach on their hands.
It's a lot of light skin energy. A lot of niggas trying to prove a point. A lot of Malcolm X's on the Orlando Magic. So
yeah, it'd be a fun team to keep watching. See how they shake out this year.
For sure.
Hopefully they can make some noise.
For sure. No, Joe, 76ers. The process, the unprocessing, the overprocessed. What's going on with the 76ers, man?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I think I kind of like what I see, man. I think Maxey and Embiid are a top 5 duo. If not now, I think they're gonna be a top 5 duo.
Yo, man, most improved campaign loading for Tyler.
Yeah, definitely. He's going crazy right now. Hopefully he can like keep it going, but yeah, he's definitely hooping.
Yeah.
We went 1-1 this week against we lost to the Bucks, and we beat the Raptors, and I wanted to highlight the Raptors game because niggas was hooping that game. Maxey had 34. He wasn't missing. And then Embiid had 34 also, and Oubre had 18, and Harris had 15. And it was what you call his first time back to Toronto. With the Sixers, and what's his name, Nick Nurse?
Yeah, the coach, Nick Nurse.
Yeah. And it kind of just seemed like they just punked them. to be honest with you. I was thinking Pascal Siakam was going to hoop, but nigga didn't hoop. And yeah, they really just gave it to him pause the whole time. And yeah, they're a top 5 duo in the league, is all I'm gonna say.
Is Joel in an MVP form? Is he, you know what I'm saying, like asserting himself? I saw clips of him and Giannis, and yeah, he was looking kind of shaky against Giannis.
I wouldn't say MVP for him, but he looked good. He looks really good right now.
He's holding up his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, shout out to the Sixers, man. I hope they can figure that out. I don't know how much value James Harden is going to give him, but yeah, this is another team who, has to take action. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't keep Joel Embiid forever without, being competitive. And as many qualms as I have with his breakaway legs, you know what I'm saying? It seems like this nigga's always on the floor. His dominance is unquestioned. I mean, when he going, he's he can light up the league. You know what I'm saying? He's, lead the league in points per game last season, had an MVP season despite the heroics of Nikola Jokic. And yeah, I think he's one of those, few potentially generational big men, but it don't mean nothing if, you're a first, second round exit, or, the story continues to be, inconsistency in the postseason. Like
all I can think of is him crying when
when they lost to Toronto.
Yeah.
Bro, don't fuck around and let that be your legacy, bro. Don't fuck around and let that be, you know what I'm saying?
It's looking like it might be. Got no faith in the Sixers.
Oh man. It starts upstairs, bro. Daryl Morey is a liar. You heard it. You you heard it. You read it on the bottle girl sign. Like, you heard it in Chinese, nigga. Hell yeah. All right, Gabe. Let's talk about these Phoenix Suns, man.
Yeah, we're on where they played. Yeah, I mean the Warriors game, right?
Yeah. But I mean, just overall, like we talked about that Warriors game. So, like, I mean, just what we haven't heard already about the Phoenix Suns, right? Like health, depth, like what realistic takeaway are you getting from this week of Phoenix Suns content?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they made the Bradley Beal trade, the idea was that oh shit, this team is gonna win a lot of games, and yeah, I believe it. They look like they're gonna win a lot of games, but we all know when you make a move for Bradley Beal, and in the previous offseason or in the previous season you make a move for KD, you keep Book, you move Aiton. This team is not going to be measured about what they do in the regular season. So I wholeheartedly believe that they're going to win probably close to 50, if not more than 50 games. It's just going to be a matter of what do they do in the playoffs and can they be healthy enough to actually make a playoff run. So yeah, I mean, my impressions of the first week is that yeah, their offense is crazy. The defense needs a lot of work. But as we know, in today's NBA, you can win. And Denver is a testament to it. You can have an incredible offense and an average defense, and you can win a ring. The
Sure.
question is, can they have an average defense? Because right now, the only KD's a capable defender, Book's a capable defender, but the only guy that you can pencil in is like, yo, this guy can get stops is Okogie.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley Beal has never. I mean, at one point I think he was a good defender. Now he plays hard, and so you got to tip your cap for that. But can he really keep up with point guards? Because that's where he's gonna be playing. Book. I mean, I'm not a big Booker fan defensively, but offensively he's dynamite. But can he do it defensively? KD can. He's proven to do it, but at his age, can he sustain it for any long period of time? Right? Nurk is supposed to be a good defender, but he's had a lot of injuries over the past couple years too. So, first week impressions is offense is amazing, defense is going to be a question, and so it's kind of a wait and see thing for the Suns. They're already with the injury concern, so we'll see what happens. But I'm 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 definitely encouraged, and they're going to be entertaining to watch for sure.
Yeah, man. Another one of those teams with super high expectations, and whether realistic or unrealistic, man, like what they're capable of is very clear, right? You got some of the best offensive talent you could put together in three individuals, and I mean Devin Booker, man. I hate his rat fucking face, man, but he's incredible, dog. Like he's a baller, man. He's a baller, and that part is undeniable. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of how you feel about him, regardless of how he feel about double teams, he can motherfucking put that ball in that net, man, and he's just only going to continue to come into form, especially as you get this elder statesman version of Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Kind of coming into form. All right, Rick, you with us, man? Let's talk about these Trailblazers. Check. Ricky Blue. He's here, but probably experiencing some technical difficulties. What do we think about the Trailblazers, dogs? What are we seeing so far? Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton, Shaedon
Simons is
Sharpe,
out.
Scoot. Simons is out.
Yeah, he's out. He's having
out
hand
for
surgery.
I think 4 to 6
Is it
weeks.
hand? Yeah, it's a hand surgery.
Oh, damn.
And,
He played at all?
I think he
I
played
think it
the
happened
first
in
game.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But had to have
But
a hand surgery.
Shaedon Sharpe looks. He looks.
He's
nice.
their only bright spot right now.
Yeah.
And Scoot has been underwhelming so far, but I mean he's a rookie, man, so he's getting he's getting his feet wet. He's working into it. But Shaedon Sharpe looks nice.
And they got
He's scoring.
Some of the Blazers fans are trying to send Scoot back to the G League for a little bit.
I ain't mad at it though. Honestly, I'm not mad at it. Like, just what I'm saying, get your situation together, man. Get your feet up under you. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of hype. There's been a lot of and again, like the expectations only come from the fact that he's a top 3 pick, top 2 pick. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only place the expectations come from, because I mean we're talking about a team in a full rebuild right now. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a team that is desperately trying to escape the legacy of Damian Lillard, and that's not gonna happen in a season. You know what I'm saying?
But my only pushback with the Blazers is like they should be in a full rebuild, but a lot of the moves that they've made wouldn't indicate that. Like, why would you sign Jeremy Grant to
Right.
a $30 million plus contract for 5 years if you're in a full rebuild, right?
Like, not committing to it, not committing to the rebuild, right? Which is why we heard
it's
that
like
back
half
and forth
in, half
with
out.
that's why we heard that back and forth about Dame last year. You know what I'm saying? Dame, wanted to be there, but was probably being told something completely different by management, and that that kind of helped, inspire the dialogue that surrounded it up until he decided, okay, yeah, I do want to leave. That not running from the grind shit, you know what I'm saying, was only one-sided. And yeah, I think you're seeing mismanagement kind of scramble to make something out of, what should have been the most advantageous position for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a high price tag on Damian Lillard, and your return was DeAndre Ayton and
Brogdon.
you know what I'm saying?
Picks.
Some picks.
Yeah, I mean they just got some picks. I mean that's the name of the game now. It's picks and playing the draft. But I mean, Portland.
Has Portland shown us that they can draft really well?
No, I mean
Outside of
sort
Dame?
of, because I mean they got Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe, and
Okay.
so they drafted those guys, and so they've shown that they could draft. But that was also the previous regime. That was the previous ownership group. That wasn't this ownership group that drafted them. They drafted two, and so I think I don't think that the Blazers will be as bad as like the process Sixers when they won 12 games. Like it won't be that bad because they do have talent, but I mean maybe 30 games.
Yeah.
I I mean, they did get blown out by like 30 today.
Yeah,
Recording.
they're
And
gonna have some tough sledding.
I think DeAndre put up like 5 points that game.
Dominating.
He's averaging 8 points and 12 rebounds. He's getting paid $35 million a year.
Dominate. Come on, man. That's what you pay the big bucks for. 8 points a game. Fucking kill streak on Call of Duty, nigga. Fucking jumping jacks and shit, nigga. Terrible bad back tattoos of a terrible name. That's what you pay the big bucks for.
Like Gabe
he's
said,
he's giving the Bahamas a bad name.
Feed Aiden.
Yeah, Bahamas is having a bad off season for Kai Jones, Aiden. It's been rough on him. Like Gabe said, it's bad mismanagement. They brought back Tybal.
They should have let him go. He'd end up in Dallas.
I didn't even want him in Dallas. He's not good.
It's a defensive body to throw out there. That's what he's made his name off of. That's what he's paid for. He's not a defensive body.
He's not been defending.
Yeah.
Last year or this past 2 games. Just very underwhelming. Jeremy Grant, his contract's ridiculous, but I think it's movable. There's gonna be a playoff Jeremy Grant.
Who's competing for the bottom of the West? The Blazers or the Rockets? Who's competing harder for the bottom of the West?
Well, it'll be the Blazers because the Rockets owe their pick. They owe their pick to OKC. I believe it's OKC. So they have a top 10. One of them. You're probably right, but they owe their pick. So if they got to finish outside of the top, I think it's a top 10 protected pick. So they can't tank, or if they lose their pick.
Blazers are gonna be the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Them
by far.
Them and the Hornets.
Bad news, Hornets. All right, Tef, we got the Kings up next. How are the Kings looking? Are we still living off that beam magic from last season? What are we seeing so far from the Kings?
More of the same. Fast-paced offense. Well coached. They were the true Cinderella team last year.
Yeah, Gabe.
De'Aaron's putting up ridiculous numbers right now, averaging 31. Mike keeps this up, he's gonna be in MVP talks.
He's definitely got to be in All-Star talks at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
And man, Keegan Murray, he's for real.
He's averaging 16. Him and Barnes. They were my disappointing team in the offseason. They didn't really make too many moves. They traded a first round pick to get off Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cheap price too.
They didn't really pick anybody. They had a big trade exception. They didn't pick anybody up. They got a top player from EuroLeague, Sasha Vizikov. He's nice, but yeah, Herter's been disappointing. He's not. I think he had like a donut game.
Not Red Velvet.
Such a wild name. Yeah, but this team's gonna get carried by Fox and Sabonis with Keegan Murray and Barnes pitching every now and then. But they
how's
should be a good
Malik
team.
Monk looking?
Good.
He hit a game winner tonight.
He's making Red Velvet look expendable.
Yeah. I like Malik Monk, man. I think like he's a great compliment. I think he's like 6th man of the year potential.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He had that good year in LA, and he's found a good home here in Sacramento.
Yeah.
See, but I don't think they had a disappointing offseason because I don't really think there was many moves to be made. I think when you got a team who matured and made a run like that, I think you got to run it back. I feel like to break it up. I mean,
what are the glaring holes? What are the glaring holes right now with the Kings?
Defense.
Yeah, defense. Their defense is below average.
They have no interior defense.
Yeah, that's the big knock on Sabonis. He can't guard the rim. He can get you all the boards, get you 20 points, but he's not a rim protector at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then their solution was to bring in. I mean, I guess I just said I'm not critical of their offseason, but I guess I am. They brought in JaVale McGee. bro got no playing time in Dallas.
Who almost gave up the game today as we're recording. But
I saw a post.
Before,
Go ahead.
oh, you go ahead.
No, I saw a post on his Instagram that came across my feed where he's talking about we do it for the haters. Like, bro, come on now. Like, you got no PT. Like, ain't nobody hating. We're just pointing out the truth.
Hey man, he got his ring. Y'all can
Oh
suck
yeah.
it. That's how JaVale McGee coming. But also agree, there's a clear absence. You are running with an undersized, you're running with an undersized five. Sabonis is not Draymond Green. You know what I'm saying? Like as much as they battled during the postseason last year, he's not built like that. And yeah, you sacrificed some rim protection when you came up off of Rashawn Holmes. Granted, who didn't always live up to his potential or his.
He fell out rotation last year.
He did, and who they use? I liked Lynn. I liked
Lynn was good.
Lynn for them defensively, and then they have like Metu. Wasn't Metu the backup five?
Chimezie Metu was good for them as well.
So I hope Lynn develops, man, because he seemed like I got an affinity for centers. I played 4 and 5 growing up, man. So like I enjoyed what I saw out of Lynn in his limited minutes during the postseason, but I think he provided them, sort of some defensive competence in the middle. But again, you can't be an offensive liability in this league. That's the easiest way to fall out of rotation is not being able to contribute or being a minus on offense. And so if he's not contributing in a way that, takes some pressure off of Fox or Sabonis, or Keegan, then yeah, I think there's some necessary development happening there. Are we talking about another sleeper? Are we talking about some play-in? We talking about in season? Like where do we see the Kings?
They're going to be in the upper half of the West, I believe.
Word.
Yeah.
Even with the defensive blind spots.
I disagree. I think they're gonna have. They finished in the third seed last year. They're not finishing in the third seed. They're in that more like 5 to 10 range because they have continuity. Like they're gonna win a lot of games, but with so much offense, especially with the West being so stacked, like you got OKC is gonna be on the come up. You've got.
Pelicans.
I mean, I know. We got the Pelicans who will probably be in that same 5 to 10 range. I know you disagree with me, Blue, but that's probably where they'll end up. Dallas will be in that 5 to 10 range. You've got Utah who's going to be scrappy, who might squeeze into the playoffs. You've got a lot of teams in the West, and I think unlike last year, they're not going to be sneaking up on anybody, and so I think they'll have a little bit of a drop off.
So you're saying that they did a good thing by running it back, but also running it back is going to cause them to fall further in the standings.
Right. Well, yeah. There's no win now move that they could have made. Like, what are they going to do? Go after Dame? Like,
I don't know how this fit's going to be because Sabonis will need to be able to stretch the floor more consistently, but I can see them going after Jared Allen.
I mean, they would have. I mean, he would fill a need, but then you would have to stagger him and Sabonis a lot. Playing them together would be tough.
Sabonis can't stretch, but it's just not too many attempts.
You'd have to play Keegan Murray a lot more for. He'd have to be the 4 all the time.
But it would improve the team though.
Yeah, it would. It would. And Barnes would have to slide up and play 4 a lot. They'd have to play small. They'd have to go like Fox, Monk, Herter, And then at that point, now their bench suffers and their defense is even worse, at least on the perimeter, because Herter can't guard, neither can Monk, and Fox can in spots. Davion Mitchell's got to get more playing time for them too, because he's probably their best perimeter defender.
Definitely the best defending guard.
He's got 14 minutes a game, but he's only putting up 2 points.
You can't be minus on offense. That's out of rhythm, and they're a rhythm team. No Joe, Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs.
Man, I don't know how I feel about this team, man. I think they're gonna be a really good team to not make the playoffs, but they're gonna be really good, but they're not gonna make the playoffs. We went 1-1 this week. We lost to the Mavs and we beat the Rockets. I want to highlight the one against the Rockets. They actually played all right that game. Keldon Johnson had 20, Wemby had 21 and 12. And I've been trying to check out Wemby, but this Vassell nigga he's nice.
Truth.
They paid him
Yeah.
a bag too, man. They saw something.
Yeah, this nigga's nice. From what I've seen, he's been in the league for probably like 3 years now. I've never heard of him in my whole life, but
Because he
I
plays for the
guess because
Spurs.
yeah, I guess since Wemby they didn't expose something, so he's pretty nice, and yeah, I honestly kind of think he looks way better than Wemby right now, but yeah, the one against the Rockets, it was a pretty it was a tight game. I feel like Wemby should get a lot more touches, and that's what that during the game he wasn't really getting a lot of touches, but when that fourth quarter came, he was like giving this nigga the ball, and he started turning up, and he took him in the OT, and then they won the OT. So my whole thing, I think they'll be good. I think they need to give Wemby. I think they need to put the ball in Wemby's hands a little more. Also,
I
There you
think
go,
they're
man.
gonna work into that though, man. Like Wemby, he's been a little up and down, but it's to be expected. But I agree, they do need to play through him more. But I think they're also trying to figure out who's gonna get playing time and who fits where.
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, you've never had to integrate a piece like this into, what I'm saying, a starting lineup, So yeah, naturally there's going to be some experimentation. I mean, I don't know how many of us were surprised he wasn't running the five, but it is interesting to see him and Zach Collins out there.
Oh, that's Zach Collins look really good too. I'm not gonna lie. I guess they kind of complement each other very
Yeah,
well.
that's a good
Well, because he
pairing.
can stretch the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
It's
very
just
interesting. I think they got a lot of like you mentioned, it's a lot of potential there. It's a lot of excitement around what they could be. And they got some solid pieces, man. Like, don't sleep on the fact that San Antonio has been irrelevant for, the last 10 years. Um, you know, that they've done wonders with number one draft picks, over the course of their history. And I don't expect Vic to be any exception. And yeah, Sohan, Vassell, um, they got
Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones.
Johnson's nice.
They
Him
got
not
some
having
good,
to be the first option now is gonna be good for his game.
yeah. So they got some great pieces, man. And yeah, they still are coached by, one of the greatest basketball minds in the game. So, you're gonna see some development, you're gonna see some growth. If not this year, then definitely in the next couple.
Yeah,
Gabe,
definitely.
your Raptors.
cool. I don't know about my Raptors.
You got 3 words for the Raptors, right?
Blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. Look, man. Again, I know like they play hard. Like they're professionals. You know what I mean? But like they're not playing for anything. And
Yeah.
like that's the worst place to be, right?
Yeah.
Like mediocrity, middle of the pack, it's the worst place to be. Like to be honest, they should have kicked that rebuild off as soon as they won that ring because there was no way they were ever going to get back to that point. And so like they don't got to go full process with it, but yeah, blow it up. I mean, Scotty Barnes, he's somebody to build around, but outside of Scotty Barnes, like I want to say that damn near everybody is on like an expiring deal. Like Ananobi's in his last year of his deal. Siakam's up for an extension, so he's in the last year of his deal. They don't have anybody long term to build around outside of Scotty Barnes and finishing. I mean, winning 40 games isn't going to get you a top 10 pick.
Right.
And at that, like this upcoming year's draft is going to be kind of soft. Like it's not going to be like a star-studded draft like this year. So yeah, blow it up. See what you can get for Ananobi because he's going to be great for any team that wants to win. Siakam is going to be hard to move because that contract is huge. But yeah, blow it up.
Further
'Cause
bottom in the East,
I got
Chicago
Josh
or
Green.
Toronto?
It'll be Chicago
Chicago,
because
yeah.
yeah, because Toronto is talented. Like Siakam's a good player, Barnes is a good player, Anunoby's a good player, but those are three guys though that all have like overlapping skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of play about around the same. Like Barnes and Siakam's game is very, very similar. They're both ball dominant. They play in that high to mid post. And Anunoby is a right now he's relegated to being like a 3-and-D spot up shooter, but he's been super vocal in the past of like wanting a bigger role.
Mm-hmm.
But his skill set is kind of the same. So like it's kind of like that shit that they say in football, right? Like you have two quarterbacks. Like when they say, "Oh, we have two really good quarterbacks," you really have none,
Yeah.
right? And so having three guys who have overlapping skill sets, it's not gonna and their wings at that. Like, and the starting point guard is Dennis Schroeder. Like that's all. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Toronto, if anybody in Canada is listening.
Hey man, the truth is the truth, and they've been teetering on mediocrity since since winning it all. And Scotty Barnes had kind of a down year from his rookie year last year, so going into what, year 3 for him. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think the hunger for winning is growing. I think, the shit ain't cute no more. Like, being in the NBA is fun, but also winning is more fun. And yeah, the mismanagement of those teams' assets and attempts at hard bargaining or Ananobi and Siakam, you know what I'm saying, during trade talks last year is like really come to bite them in the
Been
butt.
like 3 years.
Yeah, like what the value has fallen, or at the very least reset. And so yeah, you either struggle through mediocrity, until shit gets to moving around the trade deadline, or you make an affirmative decision to, you know, put all your chips in on Scotty Barnes and, and try to hit the reset button.
Mm-hmm. That's what they should do. He's young enough to do it.
Yeah. All right, we're back at you, Gabe. How are the Jazz? What are you seeing? What are you seeing from the Utah Jazz that you like, don't like, can foresee into the season?
Yeah, man. I talked about a little bit earlier. I think the Jazz they're in a sweet spot. They have I wouldn't say they have no expectations, right? Because they do have while they're young, they're not like OKC young, right?
Yeah.
They have some veterans in there. So,
The
but they're in a sweet
finisher.
spot in this, huh?
I said the finisher.
Exactly. Like they they're in a good spot because they have realistic expectations and they also have room to grow. So like if they only win 35 games or 40 games this year and they miss the playoffs, like that's not a bad year for them. They're on par. So
Yeah.
they have room to grow. So I think the bright spots, the positives of this team is like their coach, Will Hardy. Like yo, he's like Brad Stevens, Eric Spoelstra level coach. Like he's gonna be if it's not this year, it'll be sometime in the future. He's gonna win Coach of the Year.
I mean, he
'Cause,
stepped into the shoes of Quinn Snyder, and Quinn Snyder is, a revered basketball mind tasked with, trying to turn around Atlanta. So, I think those are big shoes to fill. And yeah, like you said, is there's no shortage of talent there. It's just, how do you not be the Jazz?
right. And so I think the good thing is they have an incredible coach. They've got literally, I think the only team that has more picks than them is OKC.
Okay, so
And
yeah, they
and
preparing for the
okay,
future.
they've got picks for days,
Yeah.
right? And so they have room to grow. They have young players like Agbaji, their guard looks really good. Uh, Walker Kessler, you know, arguably could have won Rookie of the Year last year. Will be in the running for Defensive Player of the year this year if
Mm.
they want to go and make a move for an unhappy star because there were some rumblings that they were looking at Dame, but
Dame
they
went
have
to
the
he
firepower
went
to
to
do
school
it.
in Utah, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He went to Weber
Yeah,
State, so
yeah.
he could do it. But I think if there's an unhappy star that's young enough that fits their timeline, they could go make a move, or they could not. And I think either one of those outcomes would be satisfactory for that fan base and for that team. So they've got young talent.
Bring it full circle. Send Cat to Utah.
No, 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 no.
They need
Cat,
Utah needs to stock up on more picks.
yeah, man.
Yeah, no.
Cat.
Sure.
The thing is like Cat is not. No, he's making. Yo, his salary is fucking crazy. Dude's gonna be making like over $40 million next year. Like it's something stupid, like 47. And I understand that like the cap is going up, so these numbers are big, so it seems bigger than what it is. But like, nah, bro, you don't want Cat
Send him to
because like at
Charlotte.
that point, you might as well kept Gobert.
I'm just sending this
Yeah,
nigga
send him to
anywhere.
Charlotte.
Send him to Charlotte.
Imagine Cat in Charlotte, bro.
Oh, well, that'd be. I mean, that'd be no defense, even more.
Yeah.
But nah, man, Utah solid, man. I think um, if they're gonna make a move this year, it'll be for a point guard, and
Yes.
that's really all they need because the Chris Dunn, Colin Sexton, THT thing, like running 3 points like that, it's kind of the same thing. You've got three players who are all playing the same position, but no one of them is good enough to start. And
Right.
so they'll be okay for now, but their number one off season thing is gonna be get a point guard or at the trade deadline. But right now we don't know who that is. It's gonna really depend. It's gonna have to be a team that's like underperforming, and then they go and cherry pick them out of their team.
There you go.
Yeah, I see the Jazz being be a team to stock up on picks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I know this year's draft is not all that great, but you got Carlos Boozer's son coming out in a year
Oh.
or two.
And man, in
Be a great
this
pickup from them.
in this era of the NBA, like picks can also turn into valuable trades. You know what I'm saying? They can turn into, solid, veteran players. So, I think, just one of my teams as an example, New Orleans made the mistake of letting their picks expire or, keeping them on the shelf too long. That Milwaukee pick, isn't gonna translate into anything of tangible value outside of what we're able to scout in the, late first, early second now. So yeah, I think, there's the option to stock up and build for the future. Then also, just in this league, especially with, the cap changes, picks for players is becoming a more valuable, a more valuable strategy for some teams too.
Yeah, because teams are having to cut salary because of the new salary cap rules. So
Right.
I agree. A team like Utah is poised to go star hunting.
Yeah, for
They,
sure.
they got a lot of big contracts they can move as well to match money.
They have a lot of workable contracts.
All right, man. And lastly, we got the Washington Wizards. I don't know, but I feel like we lost Rick.
Nah, I'm still
Oh,
here.
there you go. There you go.
I'm still here, man.
He
I'm
ended
still
out
with
right.
you. I'm still with you.
Come on, man. Let's talk about
Listen,
wrap it up, man. Let's talk about these.
let's talk about the Fantastic Four, nigga, featuring Invisible Man,
Yeah.
Jordan Poole. And I'm a Jordan Poole fan, bro. And I
Legacy
really
is
want
sealed, according to him, nigga. He ain't got to do nothing else, nigga. His legacy is
I want him to
go
be
to state.
better. I want him to be better, man. But what's crazy is that game between them and the Pacers, the first quarter was like it was all Wizards. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
if they would have kept that momentum throughout the game, man, like they would have definitely won, man. But they just lost gas. And you know, they were able to pick it back up, you know what I'm saying, on Saturday when they played the Grizzlies and smacked their stupid ass. But I don't even think that was an honorable win because it's like they ain't got Ja. So, it was what it was. But who, he redeemed himself, you know what I'm saying, and did I. And when him and Kuz are on the same, page, I think he couldn't really work in Golden State just because he needed to be surrounded by young niggas. And I think that's Kuzma too. And so now that this like, young nigga city over there with the bullets, you know what I'm saying?
That's Chocolate City.
No cap.
No, man, I like Tyus Jones there. I like Jordan Poole there. I like Kyle Kuzma there, but also I don't know that they care about winning. I don't know that the organization is really focused on that right now. I don't know that, even the comments that Jordan Poole has, he's ensured his legacy by winning with Golden State. It's like, bro, you have so much more NBA in front of you. Like, is a championship, a big bag, and baddies in on on in the floor seats. Like, is that the height of your NBA aspirations, or do you want
Yeah,
to?
It
that
might be.
team.
Go ahead, Rick.
No. Go ahead.
Gabe.
I was just gonna say, like, I agree with you, Blue. I understand, like, when like a team like we just talked about, right? Utah, they're not terribly interested in going to the playoffs, right? Because they're trying to rebuild. Washington should be doing the same thing, and so I understand when expectations don't necessarily mean we got to make the playoffs, but it seems like like they're two building blocks, Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. It seems like are they're not playing basketball to win. They're
Right.
just they're just playing ball because it gets them. I mean, I don't know, man. I've never been an athlete like that, but like it really just seems like they enjoy being famous and they enjoy the lifestyle of being a hooper. And like, hey, if that's what you like, Jeff Teague is somebody who's been talking about that a lot. Like a lot of guys ain't out here trying to win rings. Some guys are just playing to get the bag, and that's cool. But they got two players like that, and Washington has never been like a winning franchise ever. Yeah, the team's going nowhere
Yeah.
essentially.
Well, man, it's my
On
hope
that
that,
sense.
like, the teams we have those kind of conversations about. I mean, I've expressed it time and time again. I really hope that this play-in gives them something to play for, man, because like I don't want to see the same 4-5 usual suspects, that are have championship aspirations dominate the play-in. Like, I really want to see some of these young niggas who are playing for the bag, who are looking at that $1 million prize money per player, for the winner of the play-in tournament, and say this is a reason to go hard, especially if there are no postseason aspirations. So, I that my hope lies in that, is that, the lack of defense, the lack of concern with winning, meaningful basketball games will, just kind of create a little bit more of a chip or a competitive edge, with this midseason experiment that the NBA is playing right now. But yeah, man, that is all 30 teams. Oh man. Somebody parking. Yeah, man, that's all 30 teams, man. That has been war in the paint, man. I cannot believe we made it through. I was not anticipating the technical difficulties we ran into, and just, I mean, we have an opportunity to kind of fine tune and refine the formula a little bit, you know what I'm saying, in the next week. But I think overall, man, incredible first episode. I think everyone handled their assignments really well. We definitely want to, trim the fat a little bit and cut down on the time, man. But overall, I think, we had some really dope basketball conversations and got to, just kind of comment on what we've seen in this first week of NBA basketball for the 2023-2024 season.
Yeah, man.
How do you guys feel about, just the work we put in and watching it all come together?
Man, I love it. I love the camaraderie. I think we all can have, conversations that's rooted in like, the love of the game and not the traditional, nonsensical fandom bullshit that a lot of fans get off and calling these professional athletes all kinds of names that they wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, call them to their face. So it's just cool to like actually, be surrounded by real fans of the sport, you know what I'm saying? And I think with time, we can streamline this to be a lot more digestible. And you know what I'm saying? Like I'm fucking with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think uh I love talking hoops, man. I love talking ball. So uh I think I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think each of us bring a unique skill set. Each of us is interested in different things. And so like me, I'm super front office and contracts and rules and stuff like that. And everybody brings a different aspect, man. So I'm very excited for what the future holds for the long season. and we got plenty of time to continue to have these conversations.
Well, there you go, man. This has been week 1 of War in the Paint. On behalf of Gabe, Teflon, Nojo, Ricky Blue, I am Rodney Blue. This has been War in the Paint. We'll see y'all next week with a whole new slate of games. And yeah, we're gonna keep it simple and keep enjoying great basketball, man. It was great going to war with you gentlemen for the first episode, for the first week of this show, and I'm excited to see how the season develops.